Oh, mm. Now we wait. How are we all? How'd you all sleep? I don't sleep. I was talking to Cherry till like 4 a.m. last night. I am absolutely totaled. Absolutely totaled. But that's fine. What a... What an exhausting week. What an exhausting, embarrassing week just for everyone. Gonna watch Rings of Power with your mom today. It's actually decent. It's the writing is it's iffy in parts, but it captures the feel, I think, of Lord of the Rings in a good way. It's actually the only time that you see actual orc culture, which is kind of interesting. The Hobbit sequences are good. Elves are eh. Elrond and Durin is good. People hate on Galadriel. I don't mind her that much. Did I check on Max during his ban? What do you mean? He says he's going to be a few minutes late. So we got some time to kill if anybody has any questions or whatever. Like why? That might be a good question. Somebody improved the thumbnail. I'm gonna post that. I'm gonna use it. What fell? What was that? Okay, I think we're good. I think we're okay. All right, let's improve this. Let us make this better. Because if we aren't making things better, what even are we doing? Hang on. Maybe I need to open it here. There we go. Okay. Then we go boom, boom. Perfect. There we go. Check out the new thumbnail. Is there an actual topic for you going on Adam and Sitch's show this week? No. They just decided to try and throw their weight around, and then when I told them, okay, fine, let's talk. My week's open. They went all quiet like, and then Adam DM'd me and was like, hey, look, man, I'm open for this just being like a civil, friendly chat. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Oh, I thought you said you wouldn't be streaming this. Yeah, it doesn't matter if I'm streaming this. I thought about it. It doesn't matter. In any case, can't have never let an interlocutor control, all of the all of the record. It's a general rule. Even ones as upstanding as MrGirl. Adam and Sish sounds very bad faith, especially now. They're just dumb. A lot of times people are bad faith because they just don't know how to patch over just the gaping canyons in their understanding of anything. So it's just like... No, their coverage of my my video on centrism was appallingly bad. It was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. It was actually kind of astonishing. It took them like 4 hours too. They went at the speed of Ico and they still managed to misunderstand everything. See, Ico gets stuff. Ico's smart. She just, she's like a Twitch ent. Well, cue NPC dialogue music. And now we wait. Well, apparently it's going live now. I don't know why he's telling me this on Twitter. Oh, I see what's going on. What are we drinking today? We are drinking a Granville Island Lion's Winter Ale. It's actually very good. Winter ale's hit and miss. Sometimes it can be too earthy. This one's just sort of like a really good lager with a twang of, I guess, dirt. But it's good. Low-key, British Columbia beer is the best. There goes the drought situation. It's not great. I mean, we've had like a little sprinkling of rain recently. Actually, no, I tell a lie. It was pouring the other day. Pouring, so that was good. And as far as I'm aware, we didn't get massive flooding either. Which is known to happen after last year. It was crazy last year, actually. An entire town got washed away. What's better, BC beer or Quebec beer? BC beer. Hands down, easily. But Quebec and Ontario have the better gin. Thoughts on Canada banning handgun sales? Did you do that recently? I haven't been paying attention. Canadian news is boring. I mean, gun violence isn't like a massive Canadian problem. I think it's just kind of a meaningless gesture. Oh, I see. Trying to get into a voice channel. I guess waiting room?
Research into it, but I would base it in, like, as best what I could tell is the common denominator is the genetics.
Oh, hey, President Sunday.
Hey, apparently I'm supposed to be in a voice chat before I can get in.
Hello.
Oh, no, it's the other place down there. I can't, like, President Sunday, do you think, I should be, like, you know, watching you more? Like, I haven't, like, seen your videos in a while, dude. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's the most important thing you can do with your life right now. Alright, down here you say in the waiting room?
Yeah, go down in the waiting room.
He collected books, but not because he liked to read them, but because they were symmetrical and his siblings wouldn't fuck with them.
One moment, please. Hey, so I'm going to pull President Sunday in. Please just give me a moment to ask him a question before everyone starts talking. So please, everyone. Hello, President Sunday.
Hello.
Oh, hello. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in the office to wait for MrGirl, and he should be joining shortly. So I'm going to move you in there right now. Is that all right?
Works for me.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I'm going to move you in the office right now.
I am so confused. Although somebody bought a bunch of books because they're symmetrical and he couldn't get laid, apparently. Poor devil, I suppose.
Hey.
Hey.
Can you hear me okay?
I can. Are you wanting to do this on video?
Yes.
Alright, give me a sec.
You're gonna be on the TV.
Oh my god. I'm gonna be famous. Okay. Brilliant. Let me pull you up too.
Do you think you can make yourself like bigger? Because if you here, I'll show you. Show you the issue here.
That's not what I want. I want.
Wait. Huh?
Yeah, I know. I see. Just give me one quick second. I need to.
TV isn't.
To pop you out first. And there we go. All right. I want to pick up the null one. I think it's the office there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can make myself bigger. I'm just trying to get you onto the screen.
Okay, one sec. I'm trying to fix my TV.
Can't get a signal.
Okay.
How's
I just didn't set it up in my thing, right? I guess. Okay, here we go. Is there any way you can not use the virtual camera, or you have to?
I have to, or else it's not going to show up on Discord.
Oh, right. Can you crop me out?
I can, but you will also not show up on OBS then. Let me see. What you could do is you could crop my side out, so you just have like that.
Well, no, you're just going straight from Discord to the TV.
I see. Can I just... Here, hang on. Let me see. What are we looking at here?
Okay.
Oh, you're tiny. That's fine. They can't see you.
Okay. Oh shit. My sign. The intro is playing right now, so we're gonna be live in like a minute or less.
Okay. All right, works for me. So how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
If I could sleep for one goddamn night this week, that'd be a nice. That'd be nice.
I feel the same way. Okay, I don't want to see what's new in the app. I want to turn my sign on. For Christ's sake. Oh shit, this is not good. This happens like every week. I'm just like at the last second.
Here, we need to
I
do
usually-
the.
I usually screw up the intro. I gotta put my sunglasses.
We need to do the thing.
All right, hang on, hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome to MrGirl Hotline, everybody. I'm MrGirl. This is my not friend President Sunday. He's gonna be your co-host
Oh,
tonight.
hello.
We're gonna be taking calls and breaking balls, baby. How you doing, Mr. Sunday? We haven't talked in a while publicly, but we've kept in touch.
Not enough. I'm doing all right.
Yeah?
Sleep deprived. That's the usual.
You sound like kind of robotic. What happened?
Do I?
Oh,
That's just me. Oh, is my mic not being nice?
Yeah, it sounds weird.
Hang on, let me tell you.
Might be your connection. I'm not sure.
Give me a quick second.
Oh yeah, did you notice my shirt?
No, I did not notice your shirt. What am I? Oh my god.
Come on.
I've missed the lore
You-
on that.
The lore is just it's Lav. You know? Do you know
No.
Lav?
No,
Oh, you don't know? I think you
I
guys
am.
should do a stream together.
I know nothing about these people, unfortunately.
Yeah, I definitely recommend you talk to Lav.
Which of
I
you
think
is
you guys would complement each other very nicely.
which of you is getting custody after the divorce?
Oh, Steven?
Well, I assume of
Oh,
Lav
custody of
isn't
Lav?
isn't Lav Lav's the father, right? Or not Lav's the father. Destiny,
No,
Steve's the
I
father.
think so. Well, I told Lav that I'm her father, and she didn't say that wasn't true. Okay, listen, you're
Am I still robotic?
yeah, something's going on.
It's no good. One moment.
Lav means to wash in French. That's true.
I wonder.
I think it's short for lavender, though.
That probably makes more sense. Input is... How's this? Is this better? Is that improved?
No, sounds the same. It's weird because you sounded fine right until we started.
Well, that would imply that it's sort of on your end. Strange.
Oh, you
I-
think it's on my end?
Well, if it only... I was streaming before this started, so if the audio quality suddenly went down as soon as you started streaming, then that would imply that.
I think my music
Jesus.
quality sound okay. One second.
Chat, how's my audio doing? Yeah, they can hear me fine.
Let's listen to this. Yeah, you're right. It's my audio. Why did my audio get screwed up right when the stream started?
Destiny Destiny took the audio quality in the settlement, I guess.
Damn. Wait. Must be something I just did, right?
It must be. I wonder if I mean, you do this all the time, so I can't imagine that would be the cause. But I wonder
No,
if
but this happened last time. Right as soon as my stream started, the audio quality got all fucked. And I had to restart my computer to fix it.
check your Discord sound settings. One thing I have no idea.
No, it's not Discord. I just tried listening to a YouTube video and it sounded bad.
Oh, really? Oh, that's odd.
Yeah.
Okay, but is your chat
Oh.
hearing everything okay?
No.
Oh,
They
that's
said you
unfortunate.
sound weird.
Oh, well then, guys, subscribe to President Sunday for the high-quality version of this conversation.
Oh, you motherfucker. Okay, wait, keep talking.
When you eat your Smarties, do you eat the red ones last? Do you crunch them very slowly? Do you suck them very fast? Or strike that reverse it?
I'm a
Can't
fast sucker myself.
Could have fooled me. I think you were, I think the conversation last night went on for almost 3 hours. If not more.
It was 3 hours. There's 2 audio sources playing. Yeah, but why would I hear 2?
That's a good question.
I'm not trolling you. I don't understand it. It just stopped working as soon as I started. Should I restart my audio interface?
Maybe. You're asking the wrong person. I'm not a tech guy.
Okay. Well, I got a super chat, so I'm going to read that. Husker said, looking forward to more talks with professionals and an end to the drama. The DGG orbit is not healthy. I don't think it's a coincidence that Hassan said DGG made him suicidal, a clip that Destiny laughed at, by the way. I didn't know he said that. I saw that he wrote some pretty long posts with a ton of upvotes about how he was going to have to step back from the community because it was hurting his mental health, and that was I didn't read the post, but I was like, well, yeah, okay, I'm not crazy. I understand. I get. So it is real.
I mean, that's part of the course. He did the same thing with Cyberwitch Lexi back in the day. This is fairly consistent with his past
Really,
behavior.
see, I don't know much of his history.
Well, imagine how my Twitter critiques of Destiny are typically characterized, and then imagine that they're all 100% true, and then add an addition to that.
I fixed it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Imagine what? I restarted my audio interface, but I think we're good now. Okay.
Imagine a world without Batman. I'm sorry. It's the thing about Destiny is that while on screen he tries to control the worst elements of his audience from, insulting and harassing people in chat and being like all sorts of things that you would never as a public figure want to be associated with.
Yeah.
In practice, when he's safely off stream, or so he thinks, he does all of that himself in spades. It's just who he is, actually.
Well, I think we should acknowledge that you're hyper vigilant about these things. Not to discredit what you're saying, but we should acknowledge you're coming from a perspective of hyper vigilance. Like you cut ties with Chud Logic over
to be clear, his editor, not just threatening his mod staff, but also characterizing Rhizome, who is a teacher, as a pedophile for no reason.
Yes.
For continuing to harass people in his server, for like a whole bunch of things. Just a nasty, nasty piece of work.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So for me personally, and for quite a few people whose judgment I respect, that's a no-brainer. You at the very minimum don't leave that person in control of your server and control of your channel. Put them. Do you agree with
the characterization of you as hyper vigilant?
I don't much care if that floats your boat.
It floats it good.
I'm glad.
All right.
All
right. So you said you wanted to talk. I wanted to talk to you. I invited you on.
You did.
You said you wanted to talk for 30 minutes before taking calls. Was there a specific thing you wanted to talk about, or you just want to shoot the breeze?
There's 2. I assumed 30 minutes would be on the lower end of what an actual conversation would take, so I didn't want it to be 10 minutes where we cut it off at the quarter way mark, and then move on to, I guess, however the audience question thing works here.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the recent thing with what's her face, Cherry and Stardust, in particular the Stardust one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure most people know, but I'm streaming on Rumble, so there's probably some new. I think they're featuring us on the front page, possibly. If so, there's some new people. So Stardust and Cherry are Destiny Orbiters. They're streamers who I was pretty friendly with. I was definitely friends with Stardust. We had a couple discussions that kind of turned into debates about consent. And in each conversation, and I'm going to do this in this conversation too, I stood up to stretch my back as I have a herniated disc. So sitting for prolonged periods is not a good idea for me. After having these discussions, they talked to each other and came to a agreement that I was standing up to flash them. That because my midriff was exposed, I have a hairy stomach, I was trying to flash my pubes to them. Now, my pubic hair was not visible, but Stardust took a clip of my stomach hair and put a blur box over it and then wrote a description saying I had flashed my pubes. And I immediately posted the unedited version, and this resulted in kind of a dog pile of her in the responses. She got a very negative response. She took the video down, apologized for it, but has since still kind of maintained that I didn't flash her, but I was making her uncomfortable in the conversation overall, and that she thinks I was doing so on purpose. And we've basically kind of cut ties over this because I freaked out. I didn't want my, MrGirl Flash's female colleagues to fly around like a rumor. I did everything I could to squash it. I don't think anybody really, I mean, unless President Sunday, you're gonna say you are on their side. I think for the most part, public opinion has swayed my way in my favor, and yeah. So that was a week ago or a week and a half ago.
I don't
almost
much
2
care
weeks ago.
about that. What I was getting
Okay.
at was in the course of the conversation at various points, it appeared to me as if you were doing something a little bit sneaky and playing
Yeah.
with the ambiguity of the context
Okay.
to essentially weaponize references to sexual violence in the course of the conversation in order to throw your interlocutor off guard.
Okay. Okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
Why don't you enlighten me?
There are two things. One, I said to Stardust, I think that you're too. I think this is too triggering
Oh,
for
excuse
you.
me, sorry. It's had an
That's
air
fine.
bubble in my mouth. Go on, continue.
I said I think this is too triggering for you, and that like you can't follow the conversation. I was like, we were talking about consent, and I was like, I think you literally can't understand what I'm saying. To fill you in on that, I was talking about how when you set sexual boundaries with someone, even if they're healthy sexual boundaries, for you, for the other person, it can feel like you're being controlling or manipulative. This isn't a reason to drop your boundaries, but I don't think I think it's important to empathize with both parties if you're discussing like a woman saying no to a man, because I was telling a story in which I thought a woman was being excessively untrusting of me, and it made me angry at her. But I didn't push her boundaries.
Bookmark that. I want to
didn't-
return to that afterwards. Continue, sorry.
Okay, sure. So I was just giving that as an example of how it feels as a man. I said I felt like I was being racially profiled, basically. Like if you have had all these bad experiences with men and it's led you to be not very untrusting, but let's say more vigilant and careful, having that caution shown with me made me feel like personally insulted. And Stardust kept saying I was trying to debate her out of her sexual boundaries. And I kept saying, like, I'm not really debating about your boundaries. It's more trying to give you my perspective on how it feels to date somebody who delays sex for a really long time, or who is like super careful about when and how they have sex. On the other end, it like doesn't feel great. None of this is a prescription for you to change your boundaries. You in the audience, if you don't want to put out, don't put out. That it wasn't like advice on my part. It was me just saying like, this is my personal experience on the other end of that.
Now, midway through the conversation, you looked deadpan into the camera and you said to Stardust, "I feel like I'm raping you right now."
I don't.
What
think
were you doing when you said that?
I don't think I deadpanned. I think I was pretty angry when I said that.
All right, you looked with rage in your eyes into the camera and said, "I
Yes.
feel
Well,
like
I
I'm
think that's
raping you
important.
right now."
I think it's important to note that I was in the middle of a tirade against her when I was saying that.
And this is mitigating in your judgment.
I'm not saying it's mitigating. Well, I think if you're saying I'm doing something manipulative to trigger her, I do think if I'm looking deadpan and saying, I feel like I'm raping you, that does give more of an air of like trying to trigger her rather than I was triggered and screaming because I was freaking out, which is, I think, closer to the truth.
Okay, fair enough. So when I characterize you in that conversation as weaponizing an ambience and history in the case of your interlocutor, in that case Stardust, who by this point you're aware, because I think she's actually said in the conversation, she does have a history of sexual assault in her past that did a number on her psychologically. You were indeed doing precisely that. You were saying that in order to break down her self-esteem in the conversation and to portray her in a subordinate light to the audience.
Absolutely not.
Your immediate impulse was to try and defend it by saying you were angry.
Yes. So I'm not trying. Anger doesn't make me want to break people down.
Well, then what is it precisely that you think you were doing?
Freaking out. I was expressing myself.
See, that's a little bit confusing to me. When I freak out,
Let me stop. I don't. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
Of course, I want to go first.
Then go first. Don't ask me a question and then just launch into your narrative of what happened because I don't think you understand me very well.
That's fine.
And it's fine if you don't understand me very well, but don't. My emotional and psychological state and what was happening in that moment is complicated, and I think you need to.
Well, maybe on your side it was. I'm asking what you were doing, not what you were feeling.
Oh, well, I mean, what I was doing is complicated too, and you're gonna need to let me kind of lay my case for it. But if you want to say what I was doing, then you can go.
No,
first
take it away.
But, okay. This is something I've been talking about a lot on the channel ever since the doll review. In the doll review, where I reviewed a sex doll, this is the head of the sex doll I reviewed. This is in a very explicit video. I actually. I fucked the doll.
I hope you wash your hands afterwards.
I washed my hands and her hands afterwards. Actually, I don't think I ever washed her hands. But I washed the parts that needed washing.
You bought a sex doll and you used her hands?
I tried them. I didn't buy the sex doll. They sent it to me as a review copy. This doll is $6,000. I didn't buy it. Jesus Christ.
$6,000? Looks like a CGI monkey.
Well, she looks better with the hair on.
Continue. Sorry.
I mean, she has a whole body. She weighs like 120 pounds or something. It's like a whole silicone, posable like body. So at the end of this doll review, I found fucking the doll horrifying. I really didn't like it. I told the doll, actually, I said to the doll, I feel like you raped me. And I had a conversation with the doll about that. But then I talked to my girlfriend, Shaylin, and I said one thing I learned about myself with the doll is that the doll was exciting because I really like the idea of having sex where the other person like isn't moving or doing anything or like bothering me, where I can just really be selfish. But it's kind of meaningless if the other party is like dead. So it's like it was kind of like fucking a corpse, which I really didn't like. So I told Shaylin, I said, I realized I'm so focused on taking care of you when we have sex that I want monthly to have sex where you just lay still and are like silent. And she said, okay. And I said, well, wait a second. I feel like you're not really thinking through the implications of this for you. I feel like this is more upsetting to you. You're pretending to be all cool about this, but like you're not really that easygoing sexually. So like, I'm going to need some assurance that you are actually attuning to your own feelings and taking care of yourself and like sort of psychologically monitoring yourself in a way that normally I would feel obligated to do. That's the thing I want to not do, but one of us has to do it. So this turned into like a big argument.
I thought you were talking to me for a second. Dear God, continue.
No, I don't think we're there yet. I like you. I don't want you to be insulted that I wasn't talking to you.
I'm patient. Continue.
Good. So, the feeling I wanted to not have was the feeling that I'm raping her. I wanted to be selfish and be in control, but I wanted to know that she is caretaking herself in the conversation. And basically, that it's her job to stop me from raping her. That if she feels violated, she has to tell me to stop. She has to pay attention to her feelings. She can't dissociate. She can't go comatose and
So are we
still,
talking
and
Stardust or Shaylin right now?
we're talking about Shaylin stuff.
Okay, continue.
So the whole reason we had this big argument was I was like, I know you'll agree at the outset, like, yeah, sure, I'll be your fuck doll, but I need you to be a attuned, emotionally present fuck doll, or else I'm gonna feel like I'm raping you. Okay. In the Stardust conversation, she made it clear after our first debate about this that she didn't understand the conversation. She did this by DMing me immediately after our first conversation and saying, I'm sorry I was so boring in that conversation, but I don't understand that conversation. I just don't understand that conversation. Literally, that is word for word what she said. And I responded by saying, okay, well, if you want to talk about this offline or online or whatever, like, is there something you don't understand, or like, what? And she just like didn't respond to me for weeks at a time. And then, so we finally agreed to have another conversation. At this time, our friendship was pretty frayed and distant because it had been months. She said that I think she characterized me as trying to tear down her sexual boundaries, which made me feel like you've tricked me. You actually can't really have this conversation. You're not capable of understanding it, like you said. But you made it sound like you are now, or like we're going to have a different kind of the conversation, or it's going to be different this time. But you're just saying again, you want to talk about sex with me, but if I talk about my own sexual experience, if I'm selfish, like in the doll review, if I'm selfish and say, this is how it feels to me when someone denies me sex, this is just my personal experience. It's not about you. It's not a judgment of you. This is just how it looks from my point of view. And she says, you're tearing down my sexual boundaries. It made me feel like you've put me in this incredibly unfair position where you're saying, yeah, let's have this. I'm totally cool to have this conversation. And I checked in with her a whole bunch of times during the first talk. Are you sure this is okay? Are you getting upset? Are you mad at me? This seems weird. What's going on? And every single time she was like, no, I'm fine. And then it ended up destroying our friendship. And so I was really angry at her that she was not attuned enough to her own emotions. And if she is not forthright enough about her own emotions, to make it clear to me that we really shouldn't talk about this.
Okay, I understand that. I follow you there.
Okay.
Here's the disconnect for me.
Okay.
I'm not seeing a connection between point A and point B where you feel like Stardust is not in a place to have this conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you staring into the camera and telling someone you characterize as a friend in front of an audience of thousands, someone who you know has a history of sexual assault, that you feel like you're raping
the one drawing
her.
Okay, I said I feel like I'm raping you because she was telling me that I was somehow attacking her sexual boundaries and violating her somehow just by presenting my own experience in the conversation. And one thing I'm very sensitive to throughout my life, growing up with a man-hating lesbians. Wait, let me finish. One thing I'm very sensitive to, having been raised by. No, I'm not finished. I'm not finished. One thing I'm very sensitive to, being raised by man-hating lesbians, is being told that my sexuality is inherently destructive and violating and violent to other people. So it felt very underhanded and shitty of her to tell me that somehow by telling her what dating is like for
raised
me.
by man-hating lesbians.
Yes.
Is that why you're called MrGirl?
Maybe. I don't know why. It goes
Continue.
One of the reasons one of the reasons I'm named Mr. Girl. No, her telling me that just by explaining my own experience of sex, I am violating her. I felt very angry and felt like I was being set up to feel responsible for her sexual boundaries and responsible for somehow violating them just by talking about myself. So I angrily said, I feel like I'm raping you, because I did. Because you can't have it both ways. Either you can't participate in the conversation, in which case you need to not do this with me on stream.
The locution and its consequences in a public venue, Mr. Girl, are not the same thing as the feeling.
And the second option is to have the conversation and deal with the emotional and psychological consequences of hearing a man tell you what sex is like for him. But don't invite me to open up about my own sexual history, my own sexual trauma, and then say it violated you just hearing about it.
Well, if in the course of giving that explanation, this is where I see that you're sort of skirting in this gray ambiguous area. You are making references that directly connect with the ambience of sexual violence against women and this person's sexual history in particular. That's a different thing than just giving an honest account of your past. You're also weaponizing the language you're using to describe it in the first place to put your interlocutor on the back foot.
Let's get specific and let's not abstract into weapon.
We'll have to bring up the video to do that, unfortunately.
Well, I'm fine with a characterization, but I just don't agree that
I'm not. I'm very particular.
Well, then don't say weaponizing.
No, I will continue to say weaponizing. I think that's unambiguous. I think any reasonable person would read it that way.
No, any reasonable person can know what you mean, but they're not going to know.
Max, let's be realistic here. We both know for a fact you're not completely. You're not as innocent as you try to portray yourself. You know for a certain fact.
I don't agree with
you. You know for a certain fact.
I'm not portraying myself as innocent.
Hang on. You've had a lot of time to speak. Give me a moment.
No, but you're just stringing.
You don't know yet. I haven't finished speaking.
No,
yet.
You have already told lies.
Tell me what I'm going to say.
I don't care what you're going to say. I'm worried about what you just said. You just said, well, we all know, blah, blah. No, we don't all know. That's why we're arguing.
Oh, I haven't finished that thought yet. You don't even know what I was saying about you.
It doesn't matter.
Well,
I don't want you to start. No, I didn't. If I said, well, we all know Stardust is a manipulative.
You seem uncomfortable, Max.
Yes, I'm uncomfortable because you're lying.
Lying about what?
Your fucking slimy argumentation tactics. Imagine
what's
if
the
I
lie?
had said.
No, what's the
imagine
lie?
if the lie is that you think it's fair to start an argument with "we all know." If I started by saying, "Well, we all know Stardust is a liar,"
you and I
would say,
"You and I know something." Let me tell you what you and I know, and you can disagree with me if we don't.
So then, don't tell me we know it. Just say what you think.
To
your side.
I think you and I both know something.
And I think you and I both know that you're lying. I think you and I both know that.
Yes,
you're
but
not
the difference is, Max, that you're wrong.
I think we both know that Okay, and the difference is that you're wrong. So if we're gonna have a good faith argument where I think you're wrong and you think I'm wrong,
then I think there should be some parity in the amount of time we speak. Don't you think?
There should. So if you want parity in the amount of time we speak, do not tell me what I think, or I'm gonna talk for a really long time.
All right.
Say what you think.
All right.
Okay.
I think.
Yes.
That I think.
Yes,
you and I both know.
No.
That, for example, that your career thus far has benefited greatly from the perception. Hang on. Clever devil. There we go. That you and I both know that your career has benefited greatly from the perception that you are indeed a little bit shocking and outrageous, but that you are comically shocking and outrageous. That you are some cosmic level pervert and serial abuser, and this generates a certain fascination about your character.
I don't agree with you.
We both know very, very clearly what you were doing, for example, in your consent video, when you're squelching the pizza dough, and you're looking at the camera like this while you're talking about sexual consent. We know what you're doing.
No, I think we probably don't both think that I'm doing the same
thing. I think the plausible deniability about that is your bread and butter. I don't need to substantiate that.
Okay, you don't have to. But don't tell me that I think it, or you do need to substantiate. If you're going to tell me what I think, you have to substantiate it. If you're going to tell me what you think, then fine.
I'm telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I think we both think. There's a degree of separation there.
Okay, I think you can make one case at a time. It's pretty intolerable to hear you tell me that I think something that I just don't think, and then have that be evidence of the thing. If you want to argue that I do think it, and that's the argument, that's fine.
I'm feeling, Max, I'm feeling like you're not emotionally ready for this conversation.
Do you feel like you're raping me?
As a matter of fact, I do.
I'm proud of you for saying that. Do you think you're weaponizing my sexual trauma by saying that? Or
It's more of I'm
is it
riposting your sexual trauma, which you're weaponizing.
Well, I have sexual trauma.
So do I.
Okay. Well, it's more okay for you to say
You've
that
met your
you
match,
feel-
Max. You've met your max match.
If you want to make the case that I weaponized Stardust sexual trauma, one of your pieces of evidence can't be, we all know you weaponized her sexual trauma. If you're going to just say that, then there isn't really any debate or conversation to be had. If
Actually, I
the premise
disagree.
is the- if
I
the
can
premise
actually
is the-
explain precisely how your feelings and intent don't matter in this situation. You should know better either way.
No, I agree with you that my feelings and intent don't matter in this situation.
Really? Okay, so the perlocutionary force of you saying, I feel like I'm raping you to Stardust, that's independent of your feelings. That whole exposition you gave, that doesn't matter. We both know what the implications are of that and how that situates her in the conversation before an audience.
No, we don't both know. I don't agree with you. I think that you're sexist. So I think everything that you say about
Just
me
because
and
girl's in
women-
your name doesn't mean I'm sexist for disagreeing with you, Max.
everything you say about women goes through a filter in my brain of me thinking you're incredibly sexist and infantilizing to women.
I don't remember
So
speaking
I don't-
about women
I-
at
so
all.
I-
Where have I spoken about women?
Stardust is the woman you're infantilizing.
Stardust
in this
isn't
case.
women. Stardust is a proper noun.
Stardust is a woman.
Stardust is
I believe
a
you're
woman,
infantilizing.
indeed.
I believe you're infantilizing her because she is a woman.
I haven't talked about her mental state whatsoever. I'm talking about what you are presented with in that conversation and what your responsibilities are given what you know.
I don't know anything about her sexual history.
You know that she was sexually assaulted. She said as much. That's why I know about it.
She said that after I said I think the conversation's too triggering for you because of your history.
Is that the first time she said it in conversation with you? It's the first time it's ever been mentioned in your presence? There's a video record of this, so if you're lying, we will know.
Oh, well, I didn't remember her sexually. If I knew her
There's the
sexual history at
plausible
one time.
deniability. Go on. It is a plausible deniability, I'll give you that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe she talked about it in our first conversation, like 10 months ago?
I think we've drained this one dry. I actually do want to talk about the issue that you were debating Stardust and Cherry about. Do you want to recharacterize that for us? We can move on to that.
Sure. Well, I just don't agree. Your idea of my responsibilities to Stardust in that conversation is the point of contention, and it is the reason I said it in the first place. The argument we were having at that point was about what my responsibilities to you are. Am I responsible for going beyond asking you if this topic is upsetting you and too triggering for you? Do I actually have to stop the conversation if I determine that you're not fucking mentally competent to have it? Or are you a streamer that can consent to having this conversation that you asked me to have both times? I think it's the second one. I agree that it's like kind of shitty, and I agree that it's painful, and I agree that Stardust might in the short term be better off if I did caretake her and I did just decide for her, hey honey, you can't really do this. You can't talk about this. This is so
given the rampancy of sexual assault in North America that we know of, I think making that statement categorically, that could have been a complete stranger, and on a coin toss, that probably would have had the same effect. And I think you're smart enough to know that.
I don't agree with you about
even the ambience, even someone who hasn't experienced that. The immediate impact of that to an audience is that they are making associations of this person in a subordinate and victimized sexual relationship with you while this person is trying to speak.
I don't agree with you about the effect or how we should judge the effect. I don't agree that made people think she was subordinate.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, but I would like to finish this point before.
Can I ask you a question? Then I will let you speak at length.
I don't want to speak at length. I just want to say briefly that is the whole argument we were having. Whose responsibility is are who's responsible for your feelings in a discussion about sexual trauma that you or boundaries that you've entered into? Is it my job to shape and guide the conversation and not say things that are going to be triggering or re-traumatizing or upsetting to you? Or is it your job to hold your own boundaries and get out of the conversation if you don't like the way that it's going?
My question is earnest, because I actually am in the dark about this. Is there any instance in your history online of you making a statement akin to, I feel like I'm raping you, to a man?
Akin to, in terms of your view of it being making the person subordinate to me?
I give you a blank check. Interpret that how you will.
I said yesterday when I was talking to Steven.
We've got to talk about that at some point too. There's
I
an
said-
obvious incompatibility there. You got to get over it.
I said I'm a bit uncomfortable because I basically I didn't say it in the same way. So no, I didn't say it in the same way, but I said it for the same reason. He asked me, "Why do you think I'm sensitive?" And when I told him why I thought he was sensitive, he started yelling at me that I was trying to mind read him and implying that I'm like gaslighting him. And I'm like, well, do you consent or not? You just asked me to speculate about your psychology, and now you're telling me that I'm violating you somehow by speculating about your psychology. So I need you to figure this out. Are you consenting to me talking about this or not? So I did feel like I was raping him. That was why I said
But
it.
did you
but I
did you
did-
say something that would be interpreted by a neutral audience as something in the ballpark of, I feel like I'm raping you, Steven?
No, but I did. I did feel like that.
But your feelings don't matter. We agreed on that point.
My feelings don't matter in one sense. That if the audience knows how I'm feeling, then they start to matter. Because it adds context to why I'm saying it. Yes, if the only thing you know is a guy told a girl, I feel like I'm raping you in the middle of an argument about boundaries, then yes, that definitely has a certain impact and closer to the one that you're describing. But I think if you heard the rest of the conversation and if you know me and her and our relationship, I think it takes on a different meaning.
Yeah, I think that's the ticket, Max. I think that's a winning argument. Let's talk about the argument you were having with Cherry and Stardust. You game for that?
Okay. Yeah.
You okay with letting me pee first?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Time for an ad break, guys.
This motherfucker. Hey, Sunday. Fuck. Does El Presidente thinks if someone talked to him like he talks to MrGirl is persuasive? I don't think he's really trying to be persuasive. I think he's just kind of fucking with me. What does Sunday normally do for content? He does a lot of research streams. He does some reaction videos to political arguments, and he participates in political arguments himself. Yeah. You infantilize Stardust because she's a woman. I infantilize Stardust because she is a streamer. We are not the same. I mean, is it contentious at all that it is fucked up to women that rape analogy is the free space on the stream bingo card? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe women get raped a lot more than men. That's for sure. I'm not able to log in on the site. Who do I talk to have it resolved? I don't know. If your Discord account is less than a day old, maybe that's why you can't log in. I don't know why. Wait, what? How did you super chat me if you can't log in? Who are you? Don't fuck with me. I can't believe I fell for that. Sunday is weirdly likable. I agree. Against all odds, somehow he's likable.
You know, Max, I think the same thing about you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Damn shame.
So it is a shame. It is a shame. If only we could just hate each other.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Make my life easier. So, why don't you You definitely have a stronger remembrance of what that conversation was. Why don't you lay it out for us?
I've been playing it in my head over and over. Well, I think I already kind of laid it. Wait. Which
You
one?
did, but
Stardust?
I've got a bad memory. The Stardust and
Okay.
the consent thing and the
Okay,
it
so
was an
the
STD
overall-
forum, right?
Yeah. So the overall argument is, I made a video, the pizza video that you're referring to, how to say no to sex. Just say no. Don't argue. Don't debate. Don't blah blah blah. Just say no. Don't say I'm tired. Don't say we're moving too fast. What any of that shit. Just say no. Okay. I'm gonna stand up for a minute. Are you gonna put a blur box over it and say that it flashed you?
No.
Okay.
Frankly, I've been waiting for this all night.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh,
Work that
yeah.
business.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I met a girl, right? And we hooked up a little bit, but not in the PIV variety. And I hadn't had sex in about 2 years. My wife had left me, and I thought,
By the
it's
way,
time.
just a word to the wise. It's not intuitive, but gray pants are what kind of exposes things more than black. You want to go with black. in
These are
future.
pink. These are actually pink.
Well, pink's gray and dark.
Okay.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah. So let me just. There we go. Okay, so we're fucking.
Just remember, I am on YouTube. They have different standards than Rumble, so like if that goes down
you
too
know
far,
what?
we are
I'm
going to lose the
banned on.
bot.
I'm banned on YouTube.
I do.
There's a rule that if I'm the host or primary creator of content. Now, since you're streaming just yourself and me in the
I was
corner,
actually
think
streaming first. Technically, I'm hosting you. I'm being a massive
Okay,
hypocrite.
okay. I'm just saying. I just want to make sure you don't get a strike. Okay. So, we've been talking for about a year. We hooked up a little bit, no intercourse. After a year, I'm like, Jesus, I haven't had sex in like 2 years since my wife left me.
I've
I'm
never heard of somebody
miserable.
hooking up for a year and not specifying no intercourse afterwards. Typically, you just say you're friends for a year, not we've hooked up for a year. You hooked up for a year to literally watch Netflix and that's it. Continue, sorry.
We jacked each other off.
It's in the ballpark of sex, I think.
It is, but the intercourse part is
Fair
relevant
enough.
to the
Sorry,
story.
as you were.
Okay. So after a year of very occasional mutual jackination, I texted her and I said, "Hey, I'd like to have sex with you." So she said, "Okay, great, let's get tested." So we went to get tested. After getting tested, we went to get our results separately. I was clean, she was clean. We planned on meeting, and then as we were texting about meeting, she was like, "Okay, just make sure you bring your paper." And I was like, "No, what? I'm not bringing my paper." And she was like, "What are you talking about? You have to prove that you have no STDs." And I was like, "No, I'm not showing you my medical records. I am not proving shit to you.
Hmm.
If you don't trust me enough to have sex with me, then just don't have sex with me."
And that's where the conversation stopped, right? You just didn't have sex with them because they demonstrated by saying that they didn't trust you. Therefore, you're not going to have sex with them. You didn't litigate this afterwards, did you? You didn't say like, "Hey, I shouldn't have to show you my papers." You didn't allow like the emotional pressure and the social pressure in the context of your
Do you
relationship from
know
pushing her
if you
to
look up bad
accept
faith,
to accept
if
to
you-
to
if
accept to
if
have
you look
sex
up
as a
bad
result of
faith
that
in the
pressure?
dictionary, there's a picture of you next to it. Did you know that?
Right above gullible.
Instead of you telling me what happened after that, why don't you just let me tell the story chronologically,
Tell us.
and I'll tell you what happened.
Do it.
Okay.
Yes.
So I said, no, I'm not. I don't want to show you my medical records. And she was like, well then you can't have sex with me. And I was like, I know. Okay. And she was like astounded. She was like, why won't you just get the paper? And I was like, because I don't want to.
Oh shit, your camera's frozen. I need to move you back here. There we go. Sorry, your crotch has been frozen on my screen for a little while. If I don't have like the Discord window open, you just freeze. Yeah, it's frustrating.
Right. Yeah. So we just kind of said, okay, fine. I think both of us were like, well, if you change your mind, let me know. But otherwise, fuck you. And we remained friendly. And I think that's the entirety of the story I did tell her I was angry at her later, but I don't know if that. I don't think I told that part of the story to Stardust.
Which part of the story? Sorry, I was answering.
I later told her that I was angry at her about this, like 2 months later.
Mm-hmm.
Because of something else that happened. But
you told your partner, like the partner that you didn't have sex with.
This girl, I told her that I was angry at her about this. But I don't think this played. If I'm just recapping the Stardust and Cherry conversations, I don't think I talked about that. So then Stardust was saying, "Well, yeah, you know, I'm not someone that really puts out. You know, it takes me a while, sometimes months or whatever, to have sex with a new person." And I said, "Yeah, so for me, now that I'm in my 30s, I've noticed women in their 30s pretty much know if they want to have sex with you after 2 dates. And
Really?
in reality, honestly, in my experience, it's usually 1 date.
Fascinating.
People tend to. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just said fascinating. Continue.
I just think everybody's a little bit like, yeah, we fucking done this before. I mean, like, I've met a new person. Oh, look, it's your house. Oh, this is so nice. Oh, you want some tea? Blah blah. It's like we've done this fucking dance so many times, where it's just more socially acceptable. I've noticed to be much more forward about wanting to have sex. Like the idea of texting someone and saying, "Do you want to have sex?" when I was like 16 or 22 or 25 would be like really weird, but now it just feels like, yeah, and like I don't know. So I was saying to Stardust, yeah, I think if someone's waiting a few weeks or months, to me that would feel like I'm being tested. And I think to some extent, and she was like, "No, it's not a test. It's just that I need to like make sure they're safe to like be with." And I was like, "Well, yeah, that's kind of what I mean by test. I think a lot of times women will say no to you and delay sex with you to see how you react to it, and that just feels like I'm being tested to make sure I respect consent." And I totally understand why women do that, because they don't want to have sex with somebody who is going to like not respect a boundary once you're already naked and in bed. It's like a way scarier situation to be setting boundaries then. So it makes sense that you set some test boundaries to make sure, like, okay, he if I say no, he backs off, he's not pushing me, he's not manipulating me, blah blah. So I said, I understand why you do that, but the more you do it, the more people are generally going to feel like it's a power play. Like it feels like, and I feel like I have to pay for the sins of all men.
Can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by power play?
I mean, a way to ensure that a way to obtain power in a situation that is not transparent.
Attain power? What power would they be attaining by this mechanism?
The power of being the person who decides when we have sex.
Don't they already have that power?
Both people have the power to decide when we don't have sex.
Indeed.
But I think women, in this case, are obtaining the power to decide when we do have sex.
You can't say no.
No, you can say no, but once you've already pushed for it, it's clear that you're not going to say.
Well, no. You demonstrated interest, but that doesn't mean that in the event that they ask for sex, you have to say no. Power isn't the ability to consent to an event that somebody else wants to consent to as well. Power is the ability to coerce it.
Okay, you might not like my definition, but you asked me to set the definition. I'm telling you my definition.
I didn't say you set the. I asked you to explain what you mean. I didn't say you set the definition.
Okay,
yeah. Continue. Sorry.
Here's my definition of a power play in a consensual sexual relationship.
All right.
Is jockeying for the position of being the person who, when they snap their fingers, sex happens. I've been that person. I've had other people be that person. Sometimes it's neither. Sometimes both people can snap their fingers. I think in most casual sexual relationships, after a while, things start to even out where there's one person who's kind of like on deck and the other person who's like, "Hey, are you free Saturday?" And they're like, "Yes." Or they're like, "Hey, it's 3 a.m. Can you come over?" And they're like, yeah. And then oftentimes the other person does not have the ability to make it happen that way. So I don't mean the power to rape. I mean the power to.
No, I'm following you there. Can I ask you a clarifying question for myself?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously the thing that is making one party reliably agreeable to a sexual encounter such that you can describe the party withholding consent strategically as having some level of power. That's an internal drive that's sort of beyond their control, and that's why it's a power play and not simply, like the natural result of different varying levels of interest in a perfectly equal exchange. Were you agreeing with that characterization?
I think the internal drive can be stoked through this behavior, and
Sure.
can also, if
You'd make a fantastic Marxist, but we more or less agree though.
Okay, if you know the person is desperate and you're not desperate, that's another differential there. But yes,
What if hypothetically,
drive.
okay, there's an additional layer of complexity here, and one party knows that the other party is partially invested in this relationship for access to sex.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to that is incredibly invested in the relationship for reasons not having to do with immediate sexual access. They are emotionally attached to the person, or they value their friendship or their presence or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Would not that person be in a situation where they are now pressured by that internal drive, by that need, to have sex when they don't want to in order to maintain the relationship?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right, continue.
Yeah, it's not all cut and dry, and there's definitely different ways to slice it. So, by withholding affection, I would call that a power play in the opposite direction.
What about withholding medical records?
Withholding medical records.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the hypothetical, I agree. In real life, we had never, I don't think, had an encounter or hangout that didn't involve sex in some form, and not because
It didn't involve penetration. We were very particular about that.
sexual activity. I'm saying that the relationship was very. Oh, that's not. I guess
there's a difference, Max. There's a difference.
I think after
there's a difference. There's a difference between giving each other hand jobs and having sex. There is a difference.
I don't think so. So do you think lesbians can't have sex?
I think there is a difference in intensity. I think there is a difference in intensity between mutual masturbation. Of course they can. Of course they can. They can have full-on intercourse.
They can't have real intimate sex.
Oh, in my opinion, it's more real than straight sex.
Lesbians.
They're better at it. They know their organs more. But more to the point. Well, I mean, cis lesbians do anyways. But more to the point.
The hand is the lesbian sex organ.
That's not true. No. Lesbians have breasts and vaginuses, and sometimes penises and anuses. I mean, they will always have anuses. I think they wouldn't do very well if they didn't.
Lesbians have sex with their hands.
Of course they do. Everyone does.
That's not lesbians
but
primarily. Have
socially,
sex with their hands.
culturally, it is generally considered a base farther when you're involving two genitals in contact than when you're involving hands and genitals.
That is a homophobic, heteronormative value that I do not share.
Well, as a gender inclusive pansexual, I disagree. But in any case, the point is,
I don't think a penis is there. That needs to be there to make it more real.
The point is
intimate.
whether or not
that I genuinely think.
I will concede that this is a problematic cultural vestige, but nonetheless, we are raised with it, and for many people, it is the case that, it's sort of like Catholics being okay with anal, but not with other kinds of sex before marriage.
Sure. Well, I'm not
similarly, neither am I. Similarly, for a lot of people, it is a different and more intense step, and it does subjectively present unique dangers to have full-on genital penetration than it does to do. You can get
STDs from that,
among other things. Yes.
Okay.
It's a definitionally more intense act, and a major thing is you probably are not at risk for as many STDs giving somebody a hand job as you are.
You're not at risk for any STDs giving someone a hand job.
I think you can get certain venereal things that are sort of like skin to skin.
I think if you wash your hands afterward, I think it's
Probably.
pretty safe.
I would expect so. But the point is, for a lot of people emotionally, that's a different step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree that layers of coercion upon layers of coercion occur in relationships and that everything could be framed as a power play. And I am sure that from her point of view, me withholding the test was a power play. And what I said to Stardust, I'll say to you right now, there's no objective thing as a power play. A power play is something that's experienced by either an outsider or the person that's being done to, or I guess even the person who's doing it, but it's a subjective label.
I
So what I was
suppose.
trying to say to her,
Yeah.
what I was trying to say to her, and I
Yeah.
feel like you're now the third person to like not understand this.
Okay.
Maybe you probably do
No,
understand.
no, no.
Maybe
Let's try me. Let's see.
one person's healthy sexual boundary can be another person's power play, and neither person is correct.
One person's healthy sexual boundary could be another person's power play. Well, I think that would be the utilization of something that is incidentally a boundary. So it would be additionally a power play by setting the boundary. It would still be a boundary, though. The nature of a boundary is not that you happen to have a certain intense feeling about it. It's that this is the line that you have set as an autonomous agent.
Yeah. That's not the part that changes from the point of view is the necessity of it. If I know I don't have an STD, then it feels like a power play. For
Well,
her to
what the
make it
hell's
seem like
necessity? We don't have any necessity even to be alive.
necessity is a subjective thing, which is the entire point of what I'm saying, and the entire point of what I'm saying to Stardust. And I'm starting to feel like you genuinely don't understand. What I feel like I'm raping you.
Well, you'll be relieved to learn that I do not feel that is what is going on. But continue.
Good. I am relieved. So, from that girl's point of view, who has to see the test, me refusing to show her the test probably felt like a power play. She does not empathize with my need to not show her the test. She doesn't understand it. Even if I explained it to her, she doesn't care.
I'm not contending that that's a power play.
I'm not saying you are. I'm trying to explain something to you about my entire
All right.
argument.
Sorry,
my
continue.
entire
No, you're right. You're right. That was a non sequitur. Continue.
Okay. So the entire presentation of my argument to Stardust was to point
Or
out
unrelated on non sequitur. Sorry. Just
Okay.
as you were.
my entire presentation was to say, yes, from your point of view, it's a power play if I don't show you the test. From my point of view, it's a power play if you ask me to show you the test. Both things can be true because they're just subjective. We don't have to decide who's right. We're both right because we both don't want to fucking get raped. Both of us are saying, I don't feel safe having sex with you under the following conditions. And so there's a lot of cases where people just shouldn't have sex because they don't have compatible boundaries. And people third parties are obsessed with saying like, oh no, you should like Steven was like, oh, it's a total red flag if you don't show her. Like you should show her and then fuck. And then other people are probably like, oh, well, that's kind of excessive for her to ask to see your papers. She shouldn't ask you that, and then you should fuck. No, if two people have incompatible sexual boundaries, you could just not have sex. That's a totally fine solution, and that is what we did.
You know my take?
Sure.
Okay. So when she asked you to produce your medical records, the proof that you had been tested and had been found to not be carrying any STDs.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that offended you to the point where you could no longer comfortably have sex with this person because this demonstrated distrust, you should have just said, I don't like that you distrust me enough to have to require me to provide paperwork proving this. We are not having sex now. And then you should have walked away.
I know you think that.
I know. Because here's the upshot of you not doing that. Once you then say, we are not having sex unless you accept me doing so without the paperwork. Now she is being coerced emotionally for the reasons we just described.
How's
Into
that
a
any different
situation.
from her-
Into a
how's that any-
situation. It's not.
Well, she doesn't want to have sex with somebody who refuses to show her the papers.
Yeah.
So isn't she then trying to coerce me into showing her the papers?
No, she's setting boundaries.
I'm also setting boundaries. I will
You
not
are.
have sex with.
You are, but here's the crucial distinction.
Wait,
though.
stop. We're both
No.
setting the
Hang
same
on.
bound-
Wait. You're missing a crucial point, though.
I don't think so.
I think you are. I'm gonna
I
explain.
think you. I
I'm
think
gonna
you just
explain. I'm
infantilize
gonna
women
explain.
and
I'm
can't
gonna
see
explain.
that
No,
they-
no,
you
I'm not
can't
even.
see the situation as
Actually,
equal
the woman
because
doesn't
you don't see men
matter
and
in this
women as
case.
equal.
The woman
You
doesn't
don't see
matter in
men
this
and-
case. The
you
woman
don't
does
see
not
men
matter
and
in this
women as
case.
equal.
The
That's why
woman
you
doesn't
can't see
matter
the
in this
situation
case.
as equal.
No,
You
it's I'm
can't see the
talking.
reciprocity.
I have the same conversation with a woman. Here's the distinction you're missing. Okay.
Okay.
There's a distinction between the boundary and the way in which you deploy the articulation of that boundary. That's what makes it a weaponized thing as opposed to
But we
just a
both-
description of your
We
your
both
psychological
deployed.
position.
I agree with that, but we both deployed it identically.
No,
We both were like. We both
no, you
were
didn't.
like-
Here's the difference. She was trying to coerce you to produce the medical records. You were trying to coerce her into sex.
No, she was trying to coerce me into the medical records. So I was trying to. No, we're both trying to have sex. I'm trying to have sex where I don't show you my papers, and she's trying to have sex where I do show her my papers.
She's trying to get you to show the papers, period. You're trying to have sex without showing the papers.
Why do you think she wants to see the papers?
She wants to see the papers
think
so
she's
she
just
can have
curious to
sex
see them, or do you think-
safely. Well, actually, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay, so
I have
she's
no
trying to
idea
have-
why she wants to show the papers.
Because she wanted.
But when
me
we're
to
talking
rail her.
about you,
She wanted
what-
to get railed out.
But when we're
President
talking about,
Sunday.
but when we're talking
she wanted
about
to
you,
get railed out.
I believe you. But when we're talking about you, what happens in the secret recesses of her mind, those are immaterial. What you have to work with as a responsible agent are the signs
We're
that
not
people put
talking about
forward.
the secret recesses of her mind. We were negotiating sex.
You just told me what she wants. I don't know what she wants. I don't know this person. Evidently, you don't either. You were surprised by the fact that she wanted you to produce the medical documents.
No, I wasn't surprised at all.
Really? So,
Yeah.
hang on. So you were not surprised about this. You knew she would require the medical documents, and yet you didn't bring them. Would you characterize that as a power play? Were you trying to demonstrate that you can assert your will over her? That her
From her
investment
point-
in the relationship would cause her to accept a sexual engagement that she's not comfortable with?
You have a deficit of empathy for men.
I do.
Because you
Fuck 'em.
infantilize women. Because you infantilize women, or this leads you to infantilize
Fuck them
women.
too. They're all the devil.
Okay, so as a result of this deficit of empathy, you're only able to look at this situation from her point of view, which is the entire thing. I
Oh
was
no,
trying to
no.
say.
Actually, it's quite the contrary. I'm only able to look at it from yours.
Well, I disagree. You're only able to define it from her point of view.
No.
What are you drinking? 666. You donated 666. I'm drinking water.
Oh, I think you're talking to me. You want to donate to
Oh.
President Sunday in order to get like super chat responses from me. Then I'll tell you.
I don't think they're talking to you.
I think they are. I look fantastic on your television setup, by the way. Like, this is like India shit when it's on like a normal YouTube video.
But
I gotta figure out a way to do this. This is good.
well, you just buy one of these little things and hook it up to your computer. All
I
right.
need space is the problem. Like that's a setup you. How big is the room you're working in right now?
It's so it kind of sucks because I'd like to have two setups. So I have two desks. I have my normal desk over here, and like the window you usually see me sitting in front of is like right there. So that's why that setup is all cramped, which I'm unhappy about. But this one is nice because I dedicated half the room. But the room's like probably 15 by 15 or 12 by 12 or something. It's not 13 by 13.
Oh, it's not too different then. I just like to have my living room. It's a small suite, so.
Yeah. This room is. It was originally an office, but now it is just like this set, basically.
How are you feeling about being? Well, I guess technically you dumped him, but
Yeah, I
how,
think.
how are you feeling about the whole? I mean, I'm a little bit perplexed as to what the actual upshot of this is, because I think you'll still talk to Steven if he asks you to.
I think I'll still talk to Steven if he asks me to.
You will. You will. I know you. You have to. You have no choice.
Okay. Well, then I don't think that you have a question, do you?
Well, I do. I
You
just
want you want to celebrate my heartbreaking.
Oh
sad,
God, no!
car-
God, no!
car-
No!
wait,
no!
Let me finish. Let me finish. My career-damaging, heartbreaking, sad stream.
Honestly, Max, I gotta tell you.
I want you to let me finish the sentence.
But I want to tell you something.
I want you to let me finish. The
I think that
sentence.
was the
My-
most respectable thing you've ever done in your career.
I know, but you want to celebrate it by telling me that it's fake.
I don't think it's fake at all.
Well, if you think I'm just gonna talk to him whenever he asks me to, then you do think it's fake.
You can say you won't.
Yeah, but you're saying I won't do that. So you're saying it's just entirely.
Prove me
performative.
wrong.
Well, I'm not gonna fucking leak his DMs if he asks me to talk. If he publicly asks me to talk to him, then maybe I'll get to prove.
What if
he's
he
wrong.
privately asked you?
Then no, I'm not gonna prove it to you. No, I'm not gonna show you the STD test. Eventually, you're gonna have to just trust me.
MrGirl, not an orbiter anymore.
I'm not an orbiter.
Sure.
All right,
All right.
let's start the calls. Right?
Sounds good. Can I pee again?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Subscribe to President Sunday.
Oh Lord. Oh God. Oh fuck. Oh. Oh. Shaylin decided to dress up for Halloween, and part of her costume is the wig she wore in the "I'm a Pedophile" video. We still have it. It's very festive. It's very nice. Hello? Is somebody there? I should have put Renee's face on my face. It's really uncomfortable though. It's really tight. Love you, Shaylin. Everybody's saying hi to Shaylin. Shaylin is based. What did she dress as? She just kind of just threw on an outfit. Because usually we just wear pajamas like all the time. So she just kind of like got dressed up to celebrate, you know.
Oh dear, I hope that's not for me, Max. Sorry. Hello.
So what? Yeah, Shaylin's dressing up for you. Hello.
Hello?
Welcome to MrGirl Hotline. How can I help you?
Can you help me? Are you real? Where
Okay.
are you?
Paper. I see that's you. Is this are you using like a voice to text? Or a text to
I
voice?
hear you. It sounds like you're coming from my head.
Jesus.
Can you see anything? Can you see anything?
What the fuck is this?
I can't see anything, but your voice sounds like it's coming from my head. Can
Okay,
you
this
help
is-
me?
I don't know what you're talking about. This is terrifying now.
Do you see anything? Can you help me?
Okay, no.
I can't
no
see
more,
anything.
No more Halloween episodes of MrGirl Hotline.
Wait.
I can't see anything. Can you
Hang on.
turn
Hang
on the
on.
light
Wait a
or
second.
something?
Wait a
or-
second. Wait a second. Wait. Wait.
What?
It's a riddle.
Code.
It's a
Yeah,
riddle.
Can you touch the screen? Turn on the light?
I'm touching it.
Okay, wait. Something changed.
Alright, guys. I don't understand what's going on, but I really don't like it.
Okay, turn it back. Turn it back. Turn it back.
Hey!
Turn it back.
You better do what she says, Max.
What? I don't even understand what you're saying. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Wait, can you still see anything? Oh my god, what is happening?
I don't know, but it's kind of catchy. This was a test, Max. You passed.
Okay, what was the test?
I don't know. I was checking if you were pure of heart or something.
Okay. Okay.
My child, you have sinned. Tell me your sins.
I weaponize sexual trauma when I talk to women.
I stole my partner's Ritz crackers from the cupboard for lunch this morning.
Good for you.
Thank you. I like to live on the edge.
Okay. Well, I guess that was. Let's move on to the next caller. Is it the cage guy? No, that wasn't the cage guy. That was a mod.
Was it actually?
Yes.
Ask them what
That
their
was the
rate.
that was
Ask
the,
them
that
what
was
their.
like the
Ask them what their rates are.
because of how well they did.
That was fantastic.
20% of the show.
Hello.
Drazi.
Hey, I'm gonna try to turn on my camera.
Okay.
Cross your fingers for me.
Okay.
Boom. Let's go. Okay.
Good job.
Thank you. I'm so proud that it worked.
Clark Hunt says, "Great. Now we're all gonna die in 7 days." Thanks a lot, dude. That's how it fucking feels,
That
Holy
was
shit.
so good.
bro. This is a nightmare.
Wanted to come back for another beating, huh, Drazi?
So, I guess we'll get it out of the way in the beginning. To be clear, I had signed up previously expecting to talk to Lav as well. I'm kind of glad I didn't because I changed my mind about a lot of things regarding her. And I'm glad I didn't speak to her before I had the revelation that people shouldn't be held accountable when there's 15 fucking people screaming at them with guns to their head. So, just so you know, I didn't come here to start shit with you Sunday. However, if you want to talk about it, so that I can say things to Max that I had planned on saying. This is fine.
I have no idea. I have no idea what you're talking about, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had mentioned something when I first got in here, alluding to something that may or may not have happened in the past. Am I mistaken?
I think we were only talking about stuff that may or may not have happened in the past. Max, what do you think? I'm not sure what this guy's talking about.
Well, you said came back for another beating. I thought that meant something.
Yeah.
I know the alcohol does that. That's okay.
Two 4% beers? No, so I'm good.
How many?
What's that?
How many beers?
2 4% winter ales.
Oh, you're fine.
All right, guys.
I am fine.
I feel like this is not going anywhere. Drazi, you trying to talk to me or Sunday?
Well, I want to talk to you, but I am a little bit concerned that if Sunday and I don't address the elephant in the room, then maybe I can't talk to you.
He's concerned, Max.
I think you gotta just pick one.
Well, I would rather talk to you.
Okay.
So
I bet you would. Continue.
This motherfucker, man. See what I mean? He's gonna distract me. He's gonna be talking shit the whole time.
That's okay. What would you like to talk about?
There's two things I wanted to talk to you about. So I guess the first one is I think that something that I've noticed over maybe more like the last 3 or 4 months in your streams that you do have a bit of what I think some people could call an act, but I don't think it's like that. Is that
Max,
I think you pretend that you're not as sad as you are sometimes.
Very quickly, Max. I've got people in my chat saying that your caller's audio is very loud compared to you.
Oh, is that better?
That's intentional. No, I'll turn it down. Okay, go ahead. Keep talking. I act like I'm less sad than I actually am.
Yeah, I think you're okay showing that you're sad, but I think that you, like almost everybody, when you're in front of a lot of people, you try to be a bit more tough or appear like you're not as sad. And for one, that makes me sad. And two, it makes me worried that people, because I've asked a lot of people if they think that you're acting, because that's like it's like a big question that people bring up about you a lot. Is it an act? Is he really like this? And I think that you're genuine. But I think that's probably the most disingenuine thing that you engage with. Like I think everybody would, but I think that if you don't address it, then people can use that to imply that you are putting on an act. I just think it's something that everybody naturally does when there's people watching them.
Okay, well, I will address it by saying there is a different. There's two things. One is I think there's a difference between being dishonest and being private.
Sure.
So I don't think you have to expose all of your raw emotions in order to be honest.
I think people will accuse you of being dishonest if you're not exposing all of it.
Well,
though.
I think what would be dishonest is to pretend that you are feeling a different emotion that you're not feeling. But
I
think,
agree.
but I think if you don't want to expose, if you don't want to express your emotions, I don't think it's dishonest to express a more muted version or to not express them. I think it's dishonest to pretend you have a feeling you don't have.
He
But
needs to see
also-
the snot bubbling from your nose though in despair. Like,
I
that's-
don't want that.
Yeah, and so that's the other thing is that I'm pretty conscious of my role. So I think of my role as in a slight caretaker role of the audience.
Sure.
Not entirely, but I think I'm expected to be kind of like the captain of the ship, the SS MrGirl. As we drift through space, I think people. I don't want people looking to me for like the answers or like copy what I think or my opinions or anything. But I do think I still need to be in a leadership role. So if
Yeah.
I'm with Shaylin, then yeah, she gets to see me sobbing with snot bubbling out of my nose. If I'm really sad about something and I end the stream and I'm sad, then yeah, I'll cry when I'm alone. But crying in front of the troops or in front of the audience or in front of the kids or in front of the whatever role you guys are in feels a little bit like I'm using you. Feels a little slimy, I think, for me to. And I noticed a lot of streamers look to their audience for support and caretaking. I think it's really unhealthy for everybody involved.
That makes a lot of sense. I've
yeah,
seen you
so
cry only 2 times on stream, and I just don't think you could help it.
Max has actually cried on stream. When's this?
There was when you talk to the woman who's the head of the it's like the facility that's compassionate towards pedophiles, and they get them help, and they the woman said to you,
Prostasia?
she said, "We're the that one." When she said, it was right around the time that she said, "We're the first people that's ever taken these people in and said you're not a fucking monster. Do you know how that feels?" And I remember that so well because my wife was next to me, and I said, "She's doing it for him right now," and you had a tear, and you said, "You're doing it for me right now." I was like, "Oh, I called it," but it was like very. I didn't even say that out loud. It was just like in my head. It was very emotional. And then during the Pie Man interview, there was also, but like that was fucked. Like I get it.
Well, I
And
think I've cried quite a few times on stream.
Well,
Actually, I
it's-
think there's other times.
that's the ones that I've seen you because sometimes you're on my phone.
Well,
It's very hard to see tears.
Sure, I definitely cried during when I was defending myself against Jerry. On
Oh,
that stream.
fuck.
But I there's a difference between crying I still think you can be in a leadership role with with having like tears versus being like, no guys, like I don't really think I can fucking do this anymore unless you like donate $17 or something, guys. Like I think it's really unsightly. I don't
It's unprofessional to sob. It is okay to cry.
It's a distortion. Yes, his name was Robert Paulson. That's right. I think it is a abdication of my responsibility to break down like that and implicitly ask the audience for emotional support. Yeah.
I don't disagree. Cool.
Okay.
I'm glad that you didn't disagree. Yeah, I'm just glad that it's out there because I think that it's shitty when people use things that really shouldn't be against you. I don't think that you're perfect, and I think sometimes it's okay to say like, "Hey, I think you're doing this wrong," but like that would be it's just a worry of mine that I would like because I'd get mad and like yell at my computer and stuff. And if I thought it was like something could be a problem, I thought it was worth bringing up.
Okay.
The other thing is, it has been brought up 2 times,
Oh.
but the last time it wasn't the time for it. Why do you think that I secretly hate you?
Who's this guy?
You've described yourself as my biggest fan.
Yeah, I self-proclaimed biggest fan. Yeah. It's kind of funny, but like also like I think I'm in the yeah. I don't know how you'd really measure that. That's just how I feel.
Have you seen the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford?
Yeah.
Evidently, Max is an educated man.
That's right. In vino veritas. There's a scene where Jesse James is sitting in the bathtub and Robert Ford's standing in the doorway. And Jesse says, I don't understand. Do you want to be like me or do you want to be me? There's a moment where they both recognize that there is a kernel of hatred, dark hatred at the center of his admiration for this man. And I see that in you.
I don't think I want to be like you. I think that one of the reasons why I really like you and what you do
You
is
can't
that
talk me out of this belief.
well, I understand, but if you're saying it, I feel like I'd like to say what I think. Is that fair?
When you say that you're my biggest fan, I picture you doing a
It's
stream and
yeah.
my head being on your desk right there.
I think that's good because I think I freak you out a little bit
Yeah.
at least. Yeah.
I'm afraid of my fans. I've told Jimmy, like, I get death threats and I'm like, look, the Nazis, like, they hate me. They send me gross, disgusting, horrible messages.
Now I weigh in on
I'm a
this. I want to
Jew.
reassure him a little bit.
I'm a Jew. They're gonna kill me, but they're not. The Nazis, the haters aren't the ones who are gonna kill me. It's gonna be a fan.
Drazy.
I remember you said this.
Hey, Drazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you need to stop worrying about people being intimidated by you. The only people who are afraid of you run Funko Pop shops.
The only people that are afraid of me run Funko Pop what?
Shops.
Oh.
Sunday's very good at being mean. I've advised him to stop being mean to people multiple times. I've basically given up. But I think it's actually hurt.
That is part of my big criticism of Sunday as well.
He's super mean.
I mean,
Yes, I do think it's hard to sort of present yourself as the Twitch beacon or YouTube like beacon of like moral standing and
the
also
arbiter.
be an absolute fucking shitter to people. I think it's very counterintuitive. I'm not saying you have to kiss everybody's ass and be super nice, but like, I think if your goal is to,
Are you sure it's
spread
working
that morality,
wonders
you're
for
doing
you?
it wrong. Okay, well, I'm not proclaiming to be that. No, I don't want to be like you. I just enjoy the way in which you do your thing a lot. But also too, your content has had everybody who except for Sunday here knows that it's had a big impact on my life in really positive ways. It's not a stretch at all to say that like you've helped make my life better by giving me advice that I took on your stream, and
well,
I can't not be grateful for that.
I am
like, what am I to do?
I don't think there's any choice except to carve my heart out of my chest and stuff it into my mouth while it's still beating. I feel like there's really no. I'm not gonna understand the depth of your appreciation unless you do that. So I get it. I get where you're coming from, and I really
Very
appreciate
Halloween themed. Yeah, okay. So I think I understand what you're saying. That you can't admire a person to a certain degree without actually fucking hating them. It's somewhere in there. Yeah, I think if there's any part of it, the parts of you that I probably hate are the parts that remind me of myself.
There's an obligation that I'm supposed to save your life. That anytime you're lost or confused, I'm supposed to be there. And life sucks. Your life always will deteriorate and fall apart and end because that's just what happens to everybody. And so I will fail that obligation. Eventually, I will have experience in your mind a fall from grace. You'll be like, well, he didn't tell me about it. He wasn't here for this. And I think the hatred will grow.
I think that I think the only thing that you could do, or I'd be really fucking pissed and disappointed and lose all my respect for you, is that if you gave up. You have fought through a lot of bullshit, and I think that I think that it means a lot to the people that watch you. I think that anybody that goes through a lot of bullshit, we are watching you in the worst moments of your life, and you still show up. And I think that means a lot to people. So if you were to just go, you know what, I don't want to do this shit anymore. I'm tired of people being shitty to me. I'm tired of all the fucking bullshit. I'm just done. That would be hard to see. And I think that might shake, if anything,
we must never acquiesce.
The kind of admiration I have.
For it is together that we prevail.
I think that if you stepped away for other reasons, it would be fine. But if you quit, if you threw in the towel, that would be bad because you're saying that what you're doing isn't worth it.
Okay. So
That makes
you're not
sense.
really you're not
What's
really
going
countering
on
my
here?
statement that you
No, I'm
that there's-
not.
that there's an obligation. If you feel that I
Oh.
have an obligation to you.
No, you don't. Like, cause you like
You
what I
said
think.
that-
What I
oh,
think
wait.
shouldn't matter to you. I think that
Okay.
you have to have it not matter to you.
Yeah, but I'm talking
Otherwise, how
about-
can you do your job? I'm just talking about it because I'm here.
Okay.
The conversation led this way.
What Magic the Gathering faction do you prefer?
Well, faction. I definitely like blue. I don't know if
No?
we can get that there.
I had like a blue-black deck going for a little while ago.
I like black and green.
Black is probably the best color because it has Thoughtseize.
You're just
I
saying
like
that because I'm streaming on
spells.
YouTube.
I don't like too many spells. I like creatures.
And you should play green. It's
I
got all
like-
the best
I like
creatures in the
green.
last few years.
I know. I like green. I'm genuinely curious as to how blank can be as incredibly incompetent and stupid as she is. It's actually impressive. An academic for whom any issue requiring even the barest amount of acquaintance with anything involving words,
Words.
frankly, is beyond her to manage.
Poetry.
Which would be forgivable, and I'd never remark upon it, if she wasn't also a duplicitous piece of shit. That's good, Sunday, that you provided that context in the second tweet, because the first one might have seemed really mean if you didn't explain why it was imperative
I am
that you read it.
Anything if not thorough.
Yeah.
Or anything but.
Oh, that was hurtful. Somebody in your chat called me a Stardust Orbiter. I am.
You're a.
If
media
anything, I'm the
orbiter,
first
aren't you?
MrGirl Orbiter.
The first one.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure. Would I not be? Next, was there somebody that came before me
I don't know.
that streamed? Like all my beginning content was about MrGirl. If that's how that works.
I have to think about what orbiting is and if I'm comfortable using the word. I think using the word reinforces the structure, and I think I don't want to.
Well, I think it's kind of silly anyway.
You can identify. Well, that's the problem, is that it's very insidious and abusive, but it's dressed up as being silly and funny. But you can self-identify however you want. I won't misgender you, but I choose not to participate.
Well, thank you. If I can.
I missed that.
Still
Wait,
a moment.
What about misgendering? Hang on, sorry.
Oh, Drazi called himself an orbiter and asked me if I.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. You were joking. Okay.
That if I was the first.
No, yeah, I was joking. I was saying like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the ethics of calling people orbiters.
Sunday.
So Clark Cunt suggests that we just say underling.
A little more accurate, yeah. Orbiter sounds, if not silly, then a little bit fancier. Put makeup on it.
Right.
Sunday, I'm about to get the fucking boot here. I know how these go.
That must hurt.
I want to know that. Fuck it, that's how this shit goes. Okay. I wanted to come in here at first and say, like, Sunday, you and I have beef, and I think we should squash it. But
I don't have any beef
I
with you
realized that
whatsoever.
well, that's not fucking true. Last time we engaged, you said a bunch of shitty things at me, and then you fucking blocked me.
I've quite forgotten.
It was like, yeah. Okay, well, that's what happened. But then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I told myself before, when I'm not interviewing people, I'm not going to be fucking nice on purpose. And I don't want to fucking squash it. I want to let you know that I think that you pretend like you're a moral beacon of Twitch and YouTube. And I think that you're a fucking asshole and that you fucking attack people and then you should reach out to people different. And I thought that you were that. I reached out to you once and said, hey, I think one of these things that you're doing is bad. And I sent you some information about it. You're like, that's right. Or you're like, you're right. I'm going to change this thing. And I thought that was really good. I was like, oh, he is. But then I just seen you act like a total fucking shitter over and over again. And then when I pointed out something that I thought was immoral, you lost your fucking mind, like low-key threatened me and threw a bunch of shit at me, asked me a bunch of questions and fucking blocked me. I thought it was fucking bullshit. So like I thought I wanted to be. You said, don't you said, you better not take that tweet down. If you do, I'll screenshot and post it. I fucking dare you to take it down. I'm paraphrasing, but that is the essence of what you said to me. And that's not a moral beacon of this space.
Hang on.
And
So
I don't want to pretend that I'm not mad
hang on.
about that.
Okay. Just calm down for a sec. So I said take down, if you take down a tweet, I will post it again, so don't take it down.
Yeah, you said I fucking dare you or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I have
What was the tweet? Do you recall?
I thought that the framing that you had in your George Floyd video
Just read
was
the tweet.
immoral.
Just read the tweet. Oh, okay, it's coming back to me. Yeah, right. So I made a. This is actually kind of funny. So I made a video like years ago. Was it years ago? At least a year ago. On the George Floyd thing. Where he did a bit of a bait and switch, and I asked in the title of the video, did George Floyd deserve to be shot by the police? And then halfway through, after detailing how bad a man this was, I was like, no, it doesn't matter. This has absolutely no bearing on what's appropriate for the police to do. And for conservatives to be talking about it as if he deserved to be shot because he was a bad man, therefore the shooting of George Floyd is kosher, is absurd. And for some reason, Drazi thought this was a gotcha to post this.
I didn't think it was a gotcha.
Oh, you really did. It was hilarious. I've screen capped the whole thing.
Well, I guess you get
Not that it
to
matters.
read
I'm
my
not going to
mind.
do anything with it because you're nobody,
All right,
but yeah.
All right, guys.
Oh, it just got good.
Yeah, I understand. This isn't
good.
a place for
You
this.
should settle this on your own streams.
No, I don't want to talk to him again.
Well, I would, but yeah, he avoids me every chance.
Sunday,
You
if want
blocked
to
me,
leverage it-
doofus.
If you
No, you blocked me 100%. I'll prove it.
I probably blocked you after the point where you were like, you blocked me and you were like tweeting about
This is
me afterwards.
you're literally lying about me right now. This is insane.
I can't remember.
Drazi did tweet out a screenshot that you blocked him. And
Did I?
He wouldn't be able to do that if he blocked you.
No, I think I did block him, but I think he blocked me first.
I never blocked
Okay.
you. No,
All right.
I wouldn't.
All right, whatever.
Thank you for your
You must
time.
be. Thank you.
It's not what I intended to come here for. But yeah, thanks for
I don't
hearing
think.
me out. This was
Good job, Elder Drazi. I don't think I'll ever recover from that.
I wasn't trying to make you feel bad. I was trying to let you know
Godspeed.
how I feel, motherfucker.
No, you
All
hurt.
right,
you
peace out.
broke my spirit. I'm gonna cancel my channel
well,
tomorrow.
All right, Drazi, I'll talk to you.
I hope you have insurance for therapy.
I don't.
Take it easy, Mr.
Wow.
Girl.
You too.
I might die from this. That's on your shoulders.
Okay, Sunday. Do you think that it? Do you think it being mean the way you are is morally good?
I think it's morally mandated.
Okay, I believe that you are compulsively mean and hostile, and
Then I'm morally lucky as well.
Yes, I think you can't stop yourself.
I
and
can't.
I
I can't.
think
I'm incorrigible.
I think you're trying to rationalize a compulsion to be mean that you have, rather than
It's completely irrational.
well, by saying it's morally imperative.
No, it's morally lucky. It is also morally imperative. I've determined this.
Okay, Smith is back. This is a lot. Okay, hold on. Darius Euthyphro has super chatted $5. What's your opinion on people misgendering trans people out of principle? I personally think it's kind of cunty. I think it depends on where it's coming from. And like, are they going into situations where they get to misgender people, or is it like if you're really pressed against the wall socially, then you're like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna respect your gender pronouns. I think it depends on the situation. I think you could make a case for somebody who thinks that it's terrible for women, or it's even terrible for trans people in the long run, and that they're making some conscientious stand. Or you could have somebody who's just, compulsively an asshole, who makes an argument that misgendering people happens to line up with their views, even though maybe they just are being mean.
I do feel like somebody who has failed to avail themselves of the material that would explain the nature of what's going on with this, and like the reasonableness, frankly, of the norm of just abiding by somebody's avowed gender identity is just a matter of basic courtesy. I do feel like that's essentially being an obstinate asshole with extra steps, or with extra steps omitted, I guess. If you're talking about somebody who is actually adhering to a principle that they have to the best of their abilities thought through to, there's not a whole lot you can do. There's not you can't tell somebody not to act in a way that they believe in, but by the same token, that in itself is not an argument to not treat that person in a social sense as being less cunty, right? So you're kind of between a rock and a hard place here.
I guess I don't. I reject most of the progressive narrative about gender. So I'm coming to this from a different place.
Really? How so?
How do I reject it?
Yeah. And what are you
I don't-
rejecting, first of all? Because, like, progressive is a very broad term.
I don't think trans women are women,
Well, they're trans women, clearly.
Here we go.
but I don't think
What
they're
on
women.
earth was that?
That's Smith.
Hi, Smith.
Hi, I'm nice to meet you, President Sunday.
Nice to meet you, too.
Sorry for being rude. I was just
Yeah. So
trying to break the tension.
the
It's a
current
big
the current-
conversation.
I'm perfectly
current
comfortable, but
narrative-
I do have to pee again.
Okay. So you're not
Canadian
president,
bladder, my apologies. Give me a
but
moment.
you will be. Sure. Canadian bladder.
I wasn't breaking the tension. I was breaking the conversation because I didn't come to talk about gender.
Yeah, you're
If I'm
not
being
bringing
honest.
attention. You're just changing the subject to
Yep.
Smith. Okay.
Yes, I am.
Well, should we wait for Sunday or?
Yeah, let's wait for Sunday. But I'll introduce myself again. I'm Smith. I'm black by popular demand, and
You're black by popular demand.
that's what the shirt says. That's what the shirt says, and that's what the
Oh shit!
that's what the pants say.
I didn't see that. Okay. Sorry.
And so I came to talk about race, and that's why I wore this. I
Okay.
thought about wearing it other times, but
It was so unlike you to misspeak. I shouldn't have doubted you.
yeah.
Lightman is super chatted $5. Why is President Sunday like that? I have some theories, but I don't think it's right to dig around in a man's or attempt to dig around in a man's mind while he's tinkling. We can ask him if you want. What if you think you're feeding into their delusion and making them worse? Yeah, exactly.
You'd best have a degree in psychology and a mighty compelling thesis.
Well,
I don't think a
happen to
random
have-
gas station owner is really in a
I-
place to start making psychological judgments about strangers.
I happen to have a degree in psychology, and
Is it an undergraduate degree?
Unfortunately, it is.
Oh well, we're not in that domain yet.
I see. Okay.
Really quick, I just like to say
Yeah.
I'm comfortable admitting that I do hate you in the core of my love for you. I do hate you.
Okay. Are you
Yes,
talking
you
to me or talking to Max?
He's talking to me. Yes, Smith.
that's
You're.
disappointing.
I hate you too, Sunday, but I also love you. But I don't hate you at the core. I hate you on the outside and love you in the core.
What do you hate about my outside? I think I'm actually kind of okay looking.
No, that's what you got me.
All right, I'm gonna stretch. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I felt a little bit uncomfortable about the last time I called in. So
Lav,
I went out.
Lav shat on you after you
Yeah,
left.
no, she was trying to rug pull me. So I went out and I found the primordial ooze and I brought it back here. I'm gonna christen myself in a Jew's ooze, and I'm gonna talk about race. So
Max, we are on YouTube. Just a heads up.
I think he's okay. I think he's okay.
I will because I want to say it's important for me to say this. I'm gonna take. I have shorts on under this. I'm gonna take this off, and I need to tell you that because in the context of this stream, now there's this context of if a man shows their body, it's sexual harassment, and that really deeply makes me uncomfortable with my body on this stream now.
You feel like you're raping me.
Yeah, or raping someone watching. It's yeah. So, but I'm going to.
All right, I'm gonna lower the audio for desktop until this caller is gone because I did work a lot of time to get this channel to exactly. Okay, maybe Max, maybe it would be advisable in this case to set some boundaries.
Okay. Smith, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I think you should refrain from. I know you want to talk about race, but I think you should probably refrain from referring to any group of people in a way that could be construed as hating that group of people, like describing ooze or slime and associating it with that group. Do you think you can refrain from doing that?
Absolutely, yeah. I came up with that alliteration But yeah, I'm not gonna. I have no other.
You're a literary
Okay.
genius. Continue.
That,
Yeah,
that's
I thought it
not.
was-
It's not an alliteration, but it is a rhyme, and so I understand. But can you
Whatever.
cleverness cannot be an excuse for hate. Not today, Smith. Not on stream.
Alright, I'm just gonna mute my desktop. This is gonna be the silent part of the stream, guys. I'm so sorry. You can hear me speak, but you can't hear them speak. Just how it be. I'm just not gambling. Alright. Move my unicorn here.
This is a reference to when I said that Lav crawled out of the primordial ooze of my content.
Yes, and I felt like she was hoarding the ooze to herself, so I got it myself. No one can stop me.
I see. You want to crawl out of the ooze. You want to be birthed from the MrGirl primordial ooze, just like Lav was.
Yeah, I think that's why she responded so emotionally to me at the end there.
Okay.
But I don't want to talk too much about.
I'm talking too much. We just go ahead and explain yourself. You say whatever.
Okay,
you
well,
want
I
within-
came
within
I
reason.
came on. I want to try to be an advocate for Jews. You had a conversation with that feminist. About how part of your conversation.
Mr. Girl,
you said-
he's extraordinarily loud.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I can lower you. Go ahead, Smith. Keep talking.
You had a
Oh,
conversation.
wait. Sorry. I have him lowered. Yeah, just go ahead in Discord. Sunday, right-click his name, and then you can adjust his volume individually.
Which one are you? You're you Smith?
That's Smith.
Yes, I am.
Alright, let's put you down to 0.
Okay, so you're a
Mr. Girl, you can describe what's going on. Perfect.
Okay,
Stretch all you want.
I'm going to describe what's going on as you're talking, Smith, so that go ahead. Just keep going. You want to be an ally? Okay. I believe Dan is Jewish. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Dan. Okay, so Dan and Abba were arguing about Jewish executives in the 90s giving bad deals to upcoming black artists. And Dan was defending not Jewish people overall or even all Jewish executives. He was defending specific cases that Abba was saying where people got screwed over. Am I understanding this? Okay. I did not hear this stream, but I saw the comments. I saw some screenshots of some very anti-Semitic comments below this stream. So, okay, continue. Okay. Yeah. Wait, Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Are you still there?
I am indeed. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You know what you could do? You could just mute him in OBS and listen in Discord.
I can't actually because it's all coming from one source, which is Discord.
Oh, so it mutes me.
It would mute you as well, yes.
Right. I got you. Never mind. You're just scaring him about the TOS. That's all. He doesn't trust you. Okay. So to recap, Smith is saying there seems to be two major forms of pushback against anti-Semitism. When the anti-Semitism is rooted in finance or control or something, and one is just don't talk about it, and the other is you don't understand the inner workings of economics or finance in order to.
What's the point?
What's the point? I think Smith is going to say that these are insufficient defenses of Jews, and he's going to try to provide a better defense.
Good for him, I guess.
Good for him. Well, not just for him. Good for me too. Sorry, Smith. So defend me.
I feel like oh, sorry. My apologies. I hope this isn't too much for you. Come on, open up AC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that the fear of anti-Semitism is pretty understandable, but I do think if you're overly defensive of members of your group, the thing about anti-Semitism is that one of the anti-Semitic tropes is that you're all working together. So like if you're black and somebody accuses another black person of doing something, you can still be defensive of them and be like, well, no, like I get it, like no, it's fine, they're blah blah. Even if you're bad faith defensive of them, that doesn't feed into another. There isn't a narrative of like, oh well, black people are a hive mind, they're all working together. It's very hard to combat anti-Semitism because written into it is the idea that the idea that you'll defend yourself is written into it, and the idea that you'll lie in that defense is written into it. So it's kind of inarguable. Like if the person accepts the premise that you're a liar and that you're part of a secret cult, there's really nothing you can say in response to that, I think. You're saying if Jews get better at honestly criticizing each other, then that will dispel the notion that they're all working together. Wait a second. Jews no, stop it. You're being anti-Semitic right now. I'm a Jew. I criticize Jews. Okay, I criticize Jews all the time.
See, that's why I muted him.
Yes, you're being. Okay, he can't hear you, so you don't have to explain yourself to him. I think it's anti-Semitic to say that you never hear Jews criticize each other. That's not true. I mean, even in the United States, Israel is a hotly contested
Hey Max,
topic.
there's a book by Judith Butler called Parting Ways, and that's a massive critique of even the idea of Jewishness from a political vantage. She's criticizing, for example, like Zionists and whatnot. So yeah,
right. And so I'm very critical of Israel and very critical of Zionists and I'm especially critical of defensiveness around Israel. And I think Jews criticize each other all the time. I don't agree with that. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, but
I smell a bozo.
well, yes. So Smith is saying that I had a debate with a Holocaust professor who framed anti-Semitism as just a lack of education, and I was trying to get him to say like I was like, no, but like what? Because like as a Jew, I said it. It's always haunts me, and I think it haunts all Jews. Jews always want to know, what did we do? We must have done something. or even if not we, they must have done something. They must have done something, right? Like nothing. Nobody deserves to be like genocided.
Well, I mean, they were
But-
the subjects of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion written in Russia prior to the Russian Revolution, and then they were blamed
Sure,
for backstabbing Weimar after the war.
Okay, but I wanted to know in day-to-day life, what was the average German citizen who ended up going along with the Holocaust? What was their perception of like the Jews that they lived and worked amongst? What did they think? What were they? What if you asked them like why? What would be the more immediate day-to-day explanations? And yeah, as Smith is saying, his response was kind of like they were just stupid or they were uneducated. And I was saying like I think that I think killing people is stupid, and I think hating people is stupid. But I think having tension or like racial tension with groups of people is kind of inevitable, and I don't think it should be like encouraged, but I think there's probably like a safe way to talk about it where we can describe like was it true that like lots of bankers were disproportionately Jewish? Were people losing their houses and it was always like a Jewish person coming to foreclose on it? Or like are there other
Actually, it wasn't. Apparently, it was less than 1% of bank positions were occupied by Jews.
From what he said, he estimated it was. He said 1% of the population was Jewish.
No. Less than 1% of the 1% of the population was Jewish. Less than 1% of the population were bankers.
You're saying Jews were underrepresented in banking.
If we're talking, if we're characterizing overrepresentation as being more than a 1-to-1 representation of the population,
yes.
However, national Germans were way overrepresented by contrast, along all vectors.
I will need to see some evidence of that. Anyway, this
I can provide them. I had a big argument with
please do.
with
I would like
Adam
to see
Panada about this. He corrected the record on it.
Okay, I would like to see that. But anyway, I don't know. I have no knowledge of this. The Holocaust professor guessed 10% or 15% of bankers were Jews. My point is that whether or not that's the case, that I was looking for a more immediate explanation of like in day-to-day life, what were people's experiences with Jews that would allow them to turn on them that way.
It wasn't their immediate experience with the Jews. It was a culturally entrenched thing from before.
Well, I don't think that's possible.
I can give you sources later on.
There's no source that's going to prove that Jews weren't annoying.
Everybody's annoying. That's not specific to Jews.
Yeah, but people are annoying. Okay, anti-Semite. No, people are annoying in different ways.
I don't think Jews are annoying in specifically Jewish ways.
I'm being annoying right now in a specifically Jewish way.
I did not know you were Jewish until somebody told me. I just thought you were a weirdo with a beard.
Right. And then they told you I was Jewish, and some little part of you went...
He is absolutely breaking Jewish law, 100%.
Oh. Well, maybe.
Yeah. That guy's got to be uncomfortable in that little, like, tin bucket he's in.
Of course he's uncomfortable.
Put some clothes on, you hippie.
No.
Not you. You can wear whatever you want. It's your show.
Smith, you are not to put on clothes. Now, okay, I feel like we should wrap this up. It's taking a lot longer because I have to tell Sunday everything you're saying.
Something's got to get wrapped up.
Okay. Okay, Smith is saying that black people often will say, just be racist. I want to know that you're racist. Expose yourself. Don't hide it. Don't pretend you're not. Just let the chips fall where they may. And that way I'll know who to avoid or how to keep myself safe. And he's comparing that to the response of Jews, which is much more like an effort to suppress anti-Semitism and to shut it down before it gets out of control. Jews see anti-Semitism as like a fire that might spread, and black people see racism more often like a mold
I'm
that
certain you can find Jews who have the exact same attitude, and moreover, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Well, hold on. I don't think it doesn't matter is not a sufficient response. I think we should examine and be willing to talk about the broad different approaches to these two different types of bigotry. I think that's a fine topic.
Right now, this moment, we need to, in this particular exchange with man and
Yes, this is a
no
show called
shirt
Mr. Girl Hotline.
and
Is it?
tin
Yes, the fact that he's
bathrobe
not wearing
thing.
a shirt, the fact that he is in a bucket of slime, does not take away from the
Is he
fact that
actually in a
he's-
bucket of slime?
Yes, he just ladled some of it onto his fucking head. Yes, he is actually sitting in a bucket of slime.
Why is it on his head, though? That's not a bucket of slime. That's a man covered in slime in a bucket.
Smith knows that you can't hear him, so he's not going to respond. Okay, so I think it is worth noting that Jews see anti-Semitism as a fire or like a virus that's going to spread, and it needs to be contained and shut down immediately, not entertained, not debated, not talked about, only as necessary. And black people in this example,
I just
broadly
referenced a
see-
book by a Jew who was debating it.
Yes, I understand.
Okay,
I
continue.
understand.
Sorry, as you were saying.
He-
Go on.
if you disagree that this is a trend, then fine. But I don't.
Well, we
can't
didn't
imagine-
characterize it as a trend. We just said Jews. If you want to say there's a
I said-
trend, I have
said-
nothing to
I said-
retort with.
I said broadly. Broadly means trend.
Oh, sure. Continue. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Move on.
And black people broadly, in this hypothetical, and I think actually, or at least increasingly, see racism as a mold that does better under darkness, and when exposed to light, is less lethal and transmissible. I think that's a fine criticism to make of the response to anti-Semitism. I agree with you that we should open up a little bit and be a little more willing to, or I mean, I'm completely willing to talk about it. I guess if your total aim is to reduce it as much as possible, which is not that I hold free speech and free discussion in a higher value than I do in stopping anti-Semitism. But even if you're strategizing to reduce anti-Semitism, I still think this is not optimal. But anti-Semitism is usually conspiracy based and paranoid.
Also use
in its framing, and so talking about it more, like talking about whether the Sandy Hook shooting was fake. There's no amount of talking about that makes people think it's more real. By default, people don't believe in conspiracies. And then if you expose them to conspiracies over and over, they're more likely to believe them. And so to the extent that anti-Semitism is a conspiracy theory, not talking about it brings people closer to like a more realistic view of Jews.
Well, I think
okay. Why don't you agree with that, Smith?
Or Smith's talking apparently. It's like Smith, not Smith. It's like Smith mixed with smegma or something.
Smith, yeah.
Smith, like a disease. Got the Smith.
Yeah. I don't think it's okay. Smith is saying it's a conspiracy to eliminate conspiratorial thinking, but I don't think it's a conspiracy. Jews are pretty open when, like the ADL, when the ADL is like, we want to shut down anti-Semitic speech. It's not a conspiracy.
Well,
they're very open about like, let's coordinate to stop this. I don't think that it's a coordination.
I think the ranking of free speech is above anti-Semitism categorically in a simple sense is a bit obscuring in its simplicity. One of the consequences of anti-Semitic discourse becoming rampant is that Jews, by being identified as Jews, their speech is no longer received as speech. What they say is now held either suspect or simply categorically ignored. And even John Stuart Mill recognized this. Like, it's not enough to just be able to make guttural sounds into the void. You need to have established a culture in which people can speak and reasonably expect to a minimal degree to be heard and to be understood for what they're saying.
So I agree with that. I agree that that's a good counter argument. I still don't feel the same way. I think that making predictions about a loss of free speech downstream as an justification for restricting speech now is just restricting speech. It's just like then figure out the problem downstream and solve it then, but don't solve it by suppressing speech.
Well, not really,
That's
because
my
the issue with restrictive speech is when it makes it impossible to have certain kinds of discussions. That
my
we need to
issue with
have.
restrictive speech is that it's restricting speech. That is
That's just
the
that's
issue.
just that's just dogmatic. Who cares about that?
Yes, I have a dogmatic belief that speech should be free.
Yeah, but what I challenge is that your characterization of free speech actually is free speech. There's an element, there's a dimension in which it actually is categorically allowing certain people's free speech to be silenced or muted. I guess those are the same thing.
I don't see how allowing somebody to say the N-word on Twitter is silencing anybody.
By itself, I don't think it is. I think it's a bit more particular than that. If,
Okay.
for example, it becomes normalized to be able to just shout down somebody who makes a point on the grounds that they are black by just slurring them, then yeah, I would say that's an affront to free speech.
It's
People
not.
can be
That's not. It's
no,
that's
no, no. I
not.
mean, look, even you in your conversation with Steve yesterday,
Yeah.
were pointing out that you were being dogpiled and your voice was being drowned out, and
In
not
our
not just
in the conversation with Stephen,
Yeah.
he is the government in that conversation. He has control over the speech. You're conflating a norm that people don't want to listen to black people with a policy.
But norms
coming
are
down-
norms are established and maintained by what?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're still
Typically
different.
typically
Norms are
governmental
different.
initiatives that set
That's
that
fine,
set
but norms are
restrictions.
not laws. They're still not, even if they are related, they're
I
not
agree.
laws.
I agree.
Okay, so I am saying legally, speech should be free.
I don't think it's illegal to say the N-word, actually. Let me take a look quickly.
It's not illegal to say the N-word in
It's
the
in some
United
places.
States. It might be in Canada to call someone the N-word. It's not illegal here.
I think
and
it's
I don't
illegal
think it should
in
be.
the UK. I don't think it's illegal in Canada. I'm actually
Okay.
curious.
Well,
Oh, interesting. We don't even have hate crimes in the criminal code in Canada. I did not
good
know
for
that.
you. We shouldn't either.
No, I think we should. I think when a trans person gets attacked for being trans, I think that should be characterized as a hate crime. I think that's there's an additional amount of malice there.
All right. Smith wants to ask a hypothetical question.
Smith may hypothetically ask a hypothetical question.
This is your final contribution to Mr. Girl Hotline tonight, Smith. Okay. Okay. Okay, Smith is saying if there's a normalized wave of anti-Semitism, wouldn't it be good for Jews to say if that's true, that's fucked up because I'm not doing that, instead of saying that's not happening, that's not true. I agree that there's a problem with claiming knowledge that there isn't a conspiracy because it's impossible to say that.
I mean, I don't see how, like, I mean, so individual Jews can just declare, hey, wait, I'm one of the good ones, in the hopes that they won't be grouped in with the other people who are accused of doing a
No,
bad
I don't
thing?
think Smith's not saying they should do it out of self-interest. He's saying that it would give the appearance of an
No, I got
absence
that.
of conspiracy if Jews act like pygmies. That is pygmy behavior to say. Yeah, it's pygmy behavior to be like, "Whoa, I would never be a part of a conspiracy. Gee, that's really terrible if they are." Instead of being like, go fuck your mother, Nazi. Like, yeah, it's pretty different. It's pretty different response.
Based, Max.
I don't like Nazis. I really don't like Nazis. I'm bitter.
I like your dislike of Nazis. Please stop touching that.
Why?
That's I don't. It's,
Can
it's
I can I show you something?
just keep your pants on.
Hey, tell me this isn't worth $6,000. Look at this. Look at that.
What am I looking at here?
This is an eyeball. You see that?
Looks like a swell eyeball.
Tell me this isn't worth $6,000. You see that? This thing is detailed. I think the tongue is over there on the floor. I'm waiting till I'm famous and I'm gonna sell it.
Wash it first.
There is. Yes, I'm done with you, Smith. Thank you for calling, and I appreciate your contribution.
Take a bath.
You're welcome. All right, goodbye, Smith. Well, that's Smith. It has a tongue? Of course it has a tongue. Would you pay $6,000 for a sex doll that has no tongue? Asking Jewish people to deny they're in a big worldwide conspiracy is like asking Max to show his STD tests, only maybe a little bit more reasonable. Yeah, I think it's a similar feeling of indignance of like I don't want to have. Yeah, I struggle with this a lot actually. Like I never want to be perceived as unwilling to criticize Jews, but I definitely don't want to be perceived as unwilling to criticize racist people or Nazis. So I
feel
try
like
to
there's
just say,
I feel like there's a pretty substantial difference there. For one,
no, there is, but it in how I'm perceived. I don't want to be perceived as oh, I defend people because they're a Jew. I don't want to be perceived as heavily identifying with being Jewish because I don't. But I also don't want to be perceived as like a pick-me who criticizes other Jews to get Nazis to think I'm
I
cool.
understand, but the upshot is that you were not contending with Nick Fuentes about having sex with him after the stream, right?
No.
Exactly.
It's worse than that.
Well, I mean, you're both bottoms, so that would.
I mean, yeah, that whole Fuentes thing really was the beginning of the end with me and Steven's collaboration there, huh? And still you doubt my integrity.
Why do you think Steve's your friend when he's doing that? I can't square that circle in my head. See,
what, courting a Nazi?
Not just courting a Nazi, attacking people in his community and silencing them to defend courting a Nazi.
I think he's doing that to defend himself.
Oh, of course, but in consequence.
In consequence, by association, he is defending a Nazi.
He's not your friend if he's defending somebody who wants to kill you.
I don't think so. I don't think that's true.
I think that's true.
I think in that moment he's not being a good friend.
I don't know what the word friend means if the threshold is so low that he can do that and still be quote unquote your friend.
It's not that the threshold is low, it's that his self-protection and defensiveness is extremely high.
It's not a very valuable friend then. He seems to be kind of a coward.
Well, I don't love him for his value. I just love him.
Just irrationally. Just
No, it's not irrational. There are things I love about him, but obviously his relationship at that time with Fuentes is not one of the things.
What do you love about Steve?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, you do.
I don't want my love for anyone to be interrogated.
Oh no, but I think you do want to talk about it. I think you just need someone to help.
No, I don't.
Loosen the jaws of your soul.
No, I'm much more warm and sentimental and empathetic than you. And so exposing my innermost gooeyest feelings about Steven to your harsh interrogation will just be awful for me. Especially right after yesterday. Like, it'll just be
You don't think they can? You don't think they can withstand it?
No, they can. It'll just turn into you mocking my
It's not.
rawest, most sensitive parts of me, and while I try to defend myself, and I don't want to.
Well, I don't think you have to defend anything.
Well, if you're gonna mock my love for somebody, I do have to defend myself, and I don't want to. So that's why I don't want to talk about it with you.
Honestly, Max, so long as you showed him your STD forms first.
See, you're not able to take you. There's a lot of things you struggle to take seriously, and me loving Steven is high on the list of things you don't take seriously. So
It is.
So I don't want to talk about something that's really important to me if you're going to mock it.
All right.
All right. Hello?
Oh, hey. If you can put my my little screensaver on the page because it moves the same way I talk.
You're I see.
Yeah. I've spoken to you before. Like 2 weeks ago. I'm the one whose brother and fiance is currently watching the stream. See, so whenever I talk,
it's super small. I don't think nobody can see that.
Oh,
but yes.
yeah. Okay, well,
You've got
and that's
Kermit.
fine.
Okay.
I
God.
currently am getting off of a fever and I'm in someone else's house, so I don't feel comfortable putting my camera on. But I think the Kermit should be good enough for me. So I'm sorry about that. I recently wanted to ask you about your breakup with Steven. Well, your professional breakup, but I mean, I don't know if we can really have that.
I think it's a little
Sunday
more than
here.
that. I think it's a little more than that.
Like Sunday, you seem to think that this is like a joke or that he didn't give up a massive thing.
This is a love story greater than Twilight.
No, I mean I'm serious, dude.
He's not going to be able to talk about it. So if you want to try to talk about with him making one-off jokes and one-liners while we talk about it, we can try to do that, or we can talk about something else.
Well, actually, just to give you an update, we can move into it later. But I spoke with my fiance about going to Minneapolis or moving far away.
Oh,
and
I tried to destroy your family. That's
fantastic. Yes, you did it. After I spoke to her about it, she came clean that no, and I say came clean, but she doesn't know how to kind of stick up for herself, I think. And so she was very scared to just tell me, I really, really, really do not want to go. I think I'll be miserable and all these things. And we had a very strong conversation. I told her to think about if we, do we have to break up over this? We had a long conversation and we came to the conclusion that we think we're going to have to stay where we are. And I'm going to stay with our families. And I think you told me one thing in particular, which is maybe it's a good thing to be where you're wanted, and it's a new thing for me. And I think I appreciate the advice because it forced me to not just think of what my fiance was saying as holding me back, but as like a potential way of, I mean, showing affection almost. And
okay. So to remind the audience or to fill in new people, from the way you sounded so claustrophobic and dismissive of her wanting to stay home and the way you described leaving your home and moving around a lot, I had a suspicion that you have not, or that you've missed out on the feeling of being wanted, your family wanting you to be somewhere, and that you were a little bit blind or numb to the importance of that in your calculation of this decision.
that's right.
Okay. So yeah, so I was pointing that out to maybe get you to see that there might be something more in it for you, and that maybe it's not just claustrophobia, that it might be bringing up painful feelings about your own family, and also that you might be able to empathize with her better if you thought about that.
Yeah. I will say it's definitely hard. Um, I have I forced her to negotiate. Um, Sort of like it's similar to what happened when we're both figuring out where our boundaries are. We're saying what are we actually willing to give up, and before she didn't know how to negotiate. I was her caretaker. I was the one who was deciding what's best for her, and I'm taking into account. And then, well, this is my decision.
Right, and then
And
you can't actually advocate for yourself then without steamrolling her.
exactly, I was bullying her,
Max, this seems like a
and
you thing. Would you mind if I grab coffee while you're doing this?
No, go ahead.
yeah, so I was bullying her. And honestly, I didn't want to. Like I tried to have that conversation, but there's an answer I really wanted to hear, and when I'd get it, you know, it just even if part of me knows that it's not the actual answer, I'm just
Yeah, you can't be in the role of advising her, taking care of her, and also being in control of her ultimate decision. No matter how much you try, it'll and be inherently abusive to both of you.
that's right. Which is that's kind of what was happening with you and to orbiters. The it feels like an orbiter is a caretakee of
Yeah,
Steven, like Steven's caretaker.
right. Yeah.
You call them like pimps and bosses, but I think it's not giving
Host.
Steven no, I'm saying the caretaker is the pimp
Oh,
or the boss.
Steven. Yeah, Steven was a
Yeah,
pimp
he's
or a
the
boss. Yeah.
but that's not Steven absolutely goes on a limb for every one of his orbiters at some point. And honestly, Steven banned you for what he felt was your own good. He wanted you to take the role as a caretakee and accept that he knows what's best. You just need to wait 3 days or 4 days until it blows over,
I don't think
etc.
so, because when I challenged him on it, he said, "Why would I do something that's in your best interest instead of mine?" So
Yeah, but
I don't think he was even pretending it was for my own good. I
the
think he was saying,
stream right afterwards, like in the stream, like right after you left, he
yeah,
talked more with everyone else and he gave your perspective. And part of what he was saying there was, if he just left for 3 days or 4 days and the jumper came out and none of this happened, then he'd be back. No,
I
what
know,
I
but
think's happened.
I already answered that in the call, which is like, yeah, I know that public opinion in his community will sway heavily in my favor within a few days, because it always does. But then I'll just get dogpiled again.
Oh, no, I agree. What I'm
Yeah,
saying is, in his mind, at least, and maybe you disagree with this, but this is my reading of him. He thought he thought you were a belligerent child who was not taking his advice and was not letting him take care of you, and
no,
so you
I don't
were.
think so.
If the way that
He made it very clear that he banned me to protect and maintain
himself,
control. Yeah, to protect himself and maintain narrative control over his subreddit.
yeah, that's definitely part of it. But do you think that he didn't
I
also
don't think
think?
I don't think there's any part of him that thinks that it's best for me if he bans me. I think he knew he was sacrificing my autonomy and well-being to some degree to protect himself. I think he knew he was doing that, and when I called him on it, he said, "Yeah, it's just not worth it to let you say whatever you want, even if you're getting dogpiled, it's not worth it to let you defend yourself." I think at that I think earlier on in the summer, I was given a lot more leeway because he probably underestimated my ability to reverse a dogpile with a well-written essay and a couple hundred comments. I think after I demonstrated a few times that I could pretty much flip or significantly alter public opinion of myself with a sterling Reddit post, then I think that's when he was like, okay, this is not working.
Yeah, he couldn't control the narrative on the sub.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
as you said
My
multiple
posts
times,
are
you
too
were
good. My posts are too good.
as you said, you were a Cancer.
Yeah, I was a Cancer that he felt was going to metastasize and destroy his community somehow, which I don't think would have happened. I think what he experiences as the other or as Cancer could really just be part of his community that disagrees with him about X topic, and I think his community would be huge. I think he would be so much bigger and so much richer and more powerful if he didn't do this. I think he's really shooting himself in the foot by thinking that every bit of discontent in his audience is a threat to him. I just don't think it is. I think he's being way overly self-protective.
Do you disagree with? Do you still? I mean, so just to check, the framing of him being the caretaker and him feeling like, and not just feeling, but actively going out on a limb for his orbiters, even if he's also, like I do think that in one part of his mind, and you seem to disagree with this, that even the whole, hey, you need to eat dirt for 2 days or 3 days, and then after that you'll be fine thing is almost like a father telling their son, I'm building character.
I don't
That's
think
kind of
so.
how it feels.
I know he's kind of framing it like that, but I don't think he thinks that. I think he just thinks, instead of demanding that I restructure my moderation to protect you from this, just deal with it. It's not that bad. It'll be over in a few days.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're even indulging the idea of this person being some kind of authority. Lest we forget, he's a professional video gamer.
Hey, dude, he's an authority in the relationship as the head of the orbiter.
He's a StarCraft professional. He plays
All right,
video games.
I think Sunday's done with this conversation.
No, you carry on. I interjected. My apologies.
No.
It's not. It's not a fair conversation. If I don't actually want to just exclude Sunday from every piece of this.
Okay. So is there any final thoughts you want to give here?
Well, I was thinking. I did have things to say about Sunday, and
Not to Sunday, just about Sunday.
Well, to Sunday. He's asked you about this multiple times, but you do feel like the way that you're mean, the way that you treat these serious topics as a joke. Like, you made the joke.
I am mean because I take these serious topics very seriously.
You went and made the same I think you're raping me joke that you were criticizing him for, like only like 30 minutes later. If Stardust is watching that, or if somebody else who went through rape is watching that, do you think that they're seeing somebody who's actively thinking and feeling deeply about these, or just somebody who's using these as a prop to tear somebody else down?
I think it's kind of cool looking.
Wait, could you guys not hear me?
Oh, I heard everything.
Test.
Testing.
We can hear you.
Is this working? Nice.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm gonna lie down on the floor for a little bit.
Gonna angle the camera down.
No.
This is a
Gonna stretch
new
seductively.
exciting. Yeah.
No. I learned my lesson.
What kind of showmanship is this? Caller, if you wanna chat with me, why don't you I mean, first of all, if you're gonna do a gotcha, like try a little harder. But
no, I wasn't a gotcha.
This is something you just did.
Yeah, you did this 15 minutes ago, dude. You can't tell me I'm gotchaing you.
No, it's the tone. The tone. You're too excited about it. What I'm asking.
No, I'm
though,
upset. I'm triggered.
I believe you so hard, but what I'm saying is that since I'm here and you can talk to me, instead of saying something rhetorical, you could actually ask me a question.
I did ask you a question. Why would you do that if you are trying to go and actively care about these topics?
Because I'm bitch slapping Max for doing it.
So so all you're doing is you're shitting on the actual belief that you're acting like you have. Look, I legitimately.
Wait, you're saying he's criticizing the.
You want to take a second and like rephrase that so that makes sense?
I think he's saying that you're criticizing the use of this form of attack, but then you're also using it.
Oh, no. Specifically in context. I mean, generally, I don't think rape jokes are great. besides. But I think in particular when you're talking to a friend in front of an audience who you know has a history of sexual assault, and there's a massive ambience of there being widespread sexual assault in your culture, to try and situate that person in that way by using that language, I think that's, well, I just don't think it's acceptable.
So once again, imagine Stardust was watching,
I'd rather not.
and do you see how this sort of dismissiveness is just absolutely antithetical to your stated goals here?
Nope.
Like,
Well, if you're gonna be somebody who calls people out for bad behavior, you
Well,
shouldn't.
specific bad behavior. I am
But
not.
it's the same. He's
I am
calling out for
not a
doing the
I do
same
not
thing.
believe all killing is murder, Max.
But
So
even if you believe what you did is okay, then why be dismissive?
Am I being
not
dismissive?
actually-
I think I'm being
Yeah,
terse, but
you're-
not being
you're-
dismissive. I am
I
responding.
think you were definitely dismissing this criticism.
Look, I understand if you felt like I was just trying to gotcha you, but I was writing a number of defenses on the subreddit because one thing I saw in the Cherry defense and recently is you show Max even here
Did I
a
defend
genuine
Cherry?
respect. No, you didn't. I'm saying you show Max here a actual respect in the way that you do. Like you still throw jabs and insults and all those things, but the way I see it is something about Mr. Girl has, recharacterized him in your head, and you feel like this is a good actor, and that because he's a good actor, he can do good. And I feel like that's like a lot of people are trying to say that you're just doing
I
it
think your
because you're trying to
feelings
get
are
a
misleading
guessing.
you. I've never said anything of the sort.
I didn't say you said it. I said you feel. That's how I feel. I feel like that's why.
Facts don't care about your feelings, my dude. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I didn't claim that you said it, so why does it matter
You
what
claim-
the facts are?
Well, you're saying you
I'm
think
telling
that I
you about
felt it.
my-
I'm disabusing you of a misperception. I don't feel that way at all.
So you don't feel like Max is a good actor? You don't respect him?
I think he was contextually a good actor when he was challenging Destiny on the Nick Fuentes courting. I don't think a lot of the other stuff he does is okay, and I think the concentration is such that I think overall he's a bad actor. I think he has some personal charm about him, and it's unfortunate.
After his interrogation, you interrogated him earlier. What's with the thumbs up?
I like it when Sunday compliments me. Continue.
After the interrogation, that's when I felt like there was a mutual respect, because Mr. Girl just absolute. And by the way, by a good actor, I don't necessarily mean a good person. I mean like what he claims to do is what he actually. A lot of the people that you deal with and tear down, those people are liars. They're bad actors.
Were you here for the?
They don't actually believe or think the things that they say or claim to believe. I think after the interrogation, you believed Mr. Girl actually does believe and say the things that he actually believes. Is that wrong too? Do you think
Were you not listening to the beginning of the conversation where I was quite explicitly suggesting that I think he does a lot of this stuff for shock value, cynically, as evidence that he's aware of what he's doing when he says to start us in conversation, I feel like I'm raping you in front of an audience. Did the implication of that just go over your head, or what?
Okay, so I know I was trying to get into that, but the conversation.
What is the weight you're placing on this exactly? I'm just not sure what the point of this is.
The point of this is that if you actually think that Mr. Girl is a bad actor, if you think he's just lying, why are you here? And also, if you like, you're acting in a way that's actively, like, it's like you're just trying to tear people down to build yourself up. And I feel like you're smarter than that, and that you can show respect to people, and you do respect people, even if you're fucking lying about it right now. Like, I don't actually believe that you don't respect Mr. Girl, because I've seen how you argue with other people, and when you argue with them, you don't actually let them complete a sentence.
I respect.
Yes, you were hostile with Mr. Girl. Yes, you were attacking Mr. Girl. Yes, you were accusing him of lying. But none of those things are a lack of respect, because when he would answer, you would listen and you'd move on instead of just tear him down.
I think you're confusing being cordial with being respectful, and there are.
You are not cordial. No, I'm not confusing those. You're respect. the respect just comes from the fact that you believe the shit that he says is something he believes. That's not something I think you do with anyone else you talk to.
I sorry. Say it one more time. That didn't compute. That last thing. That very last thing.
Can you help me with that, Max?
He thinks you're pretending that you don't respect me to cover your own hiney.
I'm pretending I don't. Respect
Yeah.
is something that is demonstrated.
Yeah, I agree.
I've spent the entire conversation so far accusing MrGirl of things that I think are extraordinarily wrong and disingenuous.
That's right.
I don't know, buddy. Like, I don't know. I guess
So much of
I
my
guess
streaming life. So much of my
I'm sorry.
streaming life
I missed
is
what you said. I'm cutting in and out.
I
so
think
much of my streaming life is watching people pretend that they don't have a warm, fuzzy, trusting feeling toward me.
I'm sorry. I cut out for a bit. Well,
you want to know. You want to know why I can talk to Max in a different way than I can talk to someone like Erudite, for instance.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I
Max,
think it's because of respect.
Yeah, it's not. It's a difference though in practice, and I can consistently rely on Max to not script his interactions in advance, so that I can actually engage off the cuff and organically, without being mischaracterized or batted about, because the other person has absolutely scripted the conversation, and
Yeah,
everything
they're
they've said is a trap.
lying. They're bad faith.
Yes, but that's
We
not.
can't hear
That's
you.
not.
I can't hear you, Max.
That's not. I can't hear you, Max, either. You've gone silent. Max, are you talking to us?
Nope. Still.
He looks like he's saying hello.
Yeah. It looks
Anyways,
like,
look, man. Honestly, I think you're way too emotionally invested in a bunch of randos with webcams on the internet. Okay.
Okay. I don't care.
You should.
Look,
It's
look,
bad for you. It's not good. Not healthy.
Me being sick is bad for me. I don't really care.
That investment pays your bills, homie. I don't think that's a sufficient response.
No, that's not true. My patrons generally want my video essays. They're mad as hell whenever I do stuff like this.
Well, even when you're in a video essay, you still got a webcam and a microphone.
I don't use my webcam for video essays.
Look.
Oh. Okay,
dude,
listen. Let's final thoughts.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I don't
My
think
final
this is gonna go anywhere.
Yeah. Actually, I just want to confirm with you, Max. Do you think he respects you? Because I do get
Yes.
that impression. Yeah.
I think Sunday. I think Sunday respects me and trusts me more than he lets on.
Yeah. I get that feeling. I think it's just. I think it's scary to be able to say that.
Well, I can be disgusting at times, and I understand. I have sympathy for that. Also, people are often really dishonest, and so I think that if Sunday is applying whatever I perceive him as, let's apply a 20%, decrease in trustworthiness, and that's probably where he's really at. I think that's understandable. But I do get tired of people pretending that they understand me or trust me less than they do. I think Steven did that and does that sometimes. I've called a lot of people out on it, and so I'm somewhat used to it, but it is frustrating for me.
Can I be honest with you, Max?
I don't know. Can you?
I can.
Okay.
I'm always honest, in fact.
Okay.
I don't think Steven trusts you. I don't think he trusts you one bit.
I think you're full of shit. I think Steven has shown that he
I
thinks
think-
that
I
Max
think-
is absolutely
I
has
think.
integrity.
I think.
And
Hang
will
on.
do what he
Okay.
claims he'll do.
Listen. Chillax, dude. I'll let you talk afterwards. I don't think Steven trusts you at all. I think you're safe and manageable. Because you know where the you know until very recently where the lines are. And you stay within them. And you'll push, but you know when the tension gets too much and you back off. And that's why the Nick Fuentes stuff stopped. That wasn't the line. That was not the line. And even in our earlier conversation, you refused to say, Destiny talks to you in private and invites you on stream, you'll still go on stream. I know, right? You're not an orbiter anymore. You cut ties. However, it's business as usual.
What did I refuse to say?
I asked you earlier, if Destiny asks you on stream, you're gonna go on stream.
That's not a question. That's a statement.
It was a comment, and I asked you if that was true or something to that effect. In the context of the conversation, there was an opportunity for you to
never
deny
asked me
or
that.
confirm.
No, I don't think so. I think you're just telling me what you think. And I said, okay, you think that.
I think I asked you at
I don't
one
think
point.
so. I don't think you did.
All right. Well, my memory's fuzzy too, so let's
Okay.
let's just do it right now.
Okay.
If Destiny asks you to come on stream in public or in private, are you going to say no?
I will say no. Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
No
I mean,
matter what,
no-
you're going to say no. You cut ties.
No, I haven't cut ties. If he asks me,
You're not an orbiter anymore. If he asks you to come on
Right.
stream,
well, those are different. So
you're
I
not
don't
going
think
to
he has-
allow yourself to be situated such that you are
So now
now.
you're not asking a question anymore. You're just saying stuff, which is why I didn't respond earlier.
I'm
'cause
asking you an
just wanna-
additional
you just
question
wanna
in the
hear
form of
yourself
an
talk.
elaboration.
You're not letting me finish a sentence, so
Continue.
it's not good faith questioning anymore. It's just you saying what you think.
All right.
I think it's going to break your little heart when you find out that I am very honest, and all these times you called me a liar, you were making an ass of yourself. The boundary I've set with Steven is I am not your orbiter. I'm not going to be summoned. You're not going to just say, oh, hey, we're talking about this thing on stream, hop on. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to participate in streams where Steven is a moderator. I'm not doing that either. I will do an occasional stream with him that is impersonal in terms of like the topic. So he said, like, do you want to do an in-person thing talking about gun rights or something? I don't know what he was talking about, but if he invites me to do something like that, I might go. If we're doing like a movie review, I might do that sometime. If I'm hosting a panel, I might have him on the panel because I will be in the position of higher power. But as far as like routinely dropping in, being parts of panels or discussions that he's hosting in terms of participating in his subreddit, I mean, I'm banned anyway, but even if I weren't, I wouldn't participate there. Yeah, I'm
You
gonna
just
be
described like 90% of what his content could possibly be about.
Well, that's not what our content has been. Our content is all the stuff we've done together is like you watched me.
Well, I mean,
fight
like
with
the Jersey Shore shit where you're all like going at each other about stuff you said on Twitter. Sure. I guess that's left out, sort of. Except when he's not a moderator, then you'll go on. Is he definitionally a moderator if it's on his channel?
What do you mean? If it's on his channel, I have a channel and he has a channel. But if
you're appearing on his channel,
yeah. If I'm jumping into it's in his Discord, I'm jumping into the room with all the people or just him. Like, yeah, like I'm not going to do that. I think it's pretty clear to both him and me. First of all, if I said yes, it would destroy my credibility and probably really fuck up our friendship. Because what would that would mean? I did all of this just to try to twist his arm, and then it didn't even matter. It was just all for show. I honestly think that he would stop being friends with me if I did that. So I can't even do that even if I wanted to. But I don't want to do that. If I wanted to just pop into his stream whenever I want, I already had that. I already had, or maybe still have, perms in his Discord where I can just jump on his stream whenever I want. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to be his orbiter anymore. I'm not going to participate in his content in that way. I'm not saying I never want to stream with him ever again, and I will do so in a safe and sufficiently distanced manner. But no, if he snaps his fingers and says, come on my stream, which he would never do. But if he did, I would say no. But he would never do that. Because he understands. He understands what I'm saying. He understands why I'm saying it. And I think he respects the decision. He's not going to try to, like, push the boundary. He wouldn't do that.
Kermit the Frog, you were waiting.
I mean, I didn't want to interrupt. Also, that was my last word to you. Is just if people are emotional, that doesn't mean they're wrong. You should start engaging with what the people say when they're saying something emotional.
You're being
You
a
knew
Muppet.
what yes, that's what I'm doing. You knew what I was saying had some value to it, and that's why you focused on how I was saying it rather than what I was saying. If you want to talk about this on your own stream where you can go nuts, let's do it. That way Max can't get it. It can't stop you from just shitting all over me.
I don't know who you are. I don't want to shit all over you. I was trying to be nice. Can we,
You're not trying to be nice. Okay, let's move on.
Yep.
I didn't
Thanks
say
for
I was
having me on.
succeeding.
Thank you for calling.
Yep. Bye.
All right, bye. Well, doesn't him saying you are constantly gaslighting him kind of push the boundary? No. He's saying I'm constantly gaslighting him because I'm levying really heavy criticisms at him, one after another. And he is just discrediting me. I agree it is unfair he's discrediting me because I don't think I'm gaslighting him, and I don't know that he really thinks I'm gaslighting him. But some orbiters call me a gaslighter. I think it's stuck with his community. It's a good way to discredit anything somebody says. So, and he does this with different orbiters. They get labeled as stupid, immature, gaslighter, whatever. So, I think it's fucked up, and it's part of why I left. But I don't think he's pushing my boundary of me saying I'm not going to be your orbiter if I keep getting treated this way. Like that. I don't think they're related. Steven wanted to go skeet shooting with you. Did he say that? I would go skeet shooting with him. That sounds fun. Yeah. I'm sure we'll meet one day, and I'll hug him for 3 seconds longer than he wants me to. All right. Last call.
Yo. So it was mentioned earlier in the stream that black people and Jews have different ways of handling bigotry, where black people want people to be honest and open about it, and Jews just want people to shut the fuck up. I don't think that's the case. I think that black people encounter bigotry more directly and individually, where it benefits them to have it transparent. Whereas the fear of Jews is inquisitions and pogroms and holocausts, where ideologues and megalomaniacs and dictators foment general anti-Semitism, which erupts. And so the way to handle that is not so much of that.
I think that's true. I think your initial statement was saying that that's not true, that that's how they want to handle it. But I think you're explaining some of why it's handled differently.
No, what I mean is, if it were the case that Jews experienced,
I get what you're saying. An anti-Semite does not believe there's such a thing as a good Jew. And a racist person, someone who hates black people probably doesn't hate like Neil deGrasse Tyson or like Barack Obama.
I hate Neil deGrasse Tyson.
There are exceptions to every rule.
I understand the framing that you're putting on this, but I'm trying to introduce a different.
Wait, but I'm not a racist, so never mind.
Which is that if a Jew were to encounter a business that didn't want to hire Jews, they would want that to be open. If they encountered anti-Semitism the same way,
they would want that to be open?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Because they would know not to apply to that business.
Yeah, but if you're afraid of a general anti-Semitic sentiment hitting a threshold where it becomes okay to kill you, expressing that sentiment gets you closer to the threshold. That's why I'm so upset about the Kanye tweets. It's because he's making it cool to hate Jews. The guy who decides what is cool has said that it's cool to hate Jews, and in doing so, I don't want him to say that. I think he should be allowed to say it. I think he should have the right to say it. I don't think he should be banned for saying it. I believe in free speech. He should. I don't fucking want him to say it though, because when he says it, he's jacking up anti-Semitism around the fucking world, probably like single-handedly, maybe more than any other single person could.
I agree with you, but that's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about if you were looking to be employed.
No, I would rather you just reject my application. I don't want you to make it open. Like maybe I would want to know, but I don't want other people to know. I wouldn't want you to have a sign that says we don't have to hire Jews out front. That's not good.
But that's what black people are talking about when they say they want to know.
You just want it to be covert? It's already happening.
No, they want the cop who's beating them to say this is because you're black.
I think we're all stumped here. Do you want to?
Anyways, that's not actually what I wanted to talk about originally. It just came up during this conversation.
Is Kanye the biggest source of anti-Semitism since Hitler? I am the biggest source of anti-Semitism. Okay, continue.
You're wrong about jail. I think you're. I guess I'm being a bit of a bitch about it. My understanding of your frame of jail is that it exists because society wants to torture people, and it seems like a good way to do it. Do I have that more or less right?
No, I wouldn't say that. It's true.
How would you frame why jail exists?
For a few reasons. One, yes, society wants to torture people, and jail is torture. I believe that. That's true. Society wants revenge. When you commit a crime, it makes us feel bad, so we got to do something to make ourselves feel better, and jail is one of those things, and I would call that torture. Jail also exists to try to disincentivize bad behavior. I don't think it's very good at this. I think it actually increases bad behavior, but that is part of the purpose of jail. I think you're conflating why it exists in the like philosophical sense versus why people build them and actually think it's good to have them. The rationalizations for jail, obviously, we all know are just whatever. They're normal rationalizations, but why we actually do it? I think it's sort of like in a hunter-gatherer society, the death penalty makes more sense. If like you don't have the infrastructure to put somebody somewhere and they keep like raping kids or something, it makes a lot more sense to just kill them. Just be like, okay, we have to kill you. There's nothing else to do with you. And then like locking them up, if you're moving or you don't have like the infrastructure to keep like to build a structure that you can just keep someone in and feed them that they can't get out of, that costs a lot of resources. Feels like jail is like a vestige of the death penalty.
I don't think so. I think the world pre-jail is the world of lynchings and vendettas and duels. And jail allows us to abstract those things so that we can determine in a dispassionate way who is guilty of what and what their punishment should be. I think that's why we don't have
But jail is a punishment though, and moreover, it's also capitalized upon. People in jail are used to manufacture things.
Yeah, it's slavery. It's inherently passionate. Even if every actor in the system is dispassionate, all the justifications for jail are passionate.
How about this, caller?
Place far more passionate.
Caller. What if you steal a candy bar, right? And then I'm the justices, and I say, don't worry, we're not going to punish you. We're just going to put you into a gray box with a bunch of violent, crazy people for years until we decide what to do with you.
Well, you're arguing with the implementation of jail rather than its existence.
No,
that's what jail is.
That's what jail is. It's putting someone in a box.
Right, but jail is. I mean, the criminal justice system exists such that when one person rapes another, the second person doesn't burn their house down, and then the first person's family doesn't murder them. Right? It exists so that a third party.
It is that. It's just dressed up. That's all it is. If you rape someone and you can prove to the government somehow with a crystal ball that you'll never rape anybody else again, then why should you go to jail? What is the utility other than it makes us feel better and revenge of putting criminals in a box?
I think the scenario you just laid out is impossible.
What? What are you talking about? No, hang on. That's whether or not I agree that, for example, retributive justice has any place. That's precisely what happens when you have a psychologist evaluate somebody and they say this person is at a highly low risk to offend. We should allow this person to be reintegrated into the community. That's what they're doing.
Are you talking about after being in prison?
No, that's the process by which they remove somebody from prison. But in the meantime, they are still being punished. It's not
But I
a.
think Mr. Girl is laying out a scenario such that you just raped someone and now you are proving that you will never do this again. Whereas
Well, no.
I'm
He
again-
thinks, if I may, he thinks that
Bill Cosby.
well, you're thinking of punishment in purely corrective terms, Mr. Girl. So if it becomes redundant, if the person is already established by some
Right.
infallible means to
But
not
there's
be
no
at risk of
correction,
reoffending
no
again.
correction necessary. So Bill Cosby, there's no correction necessary with Bill Cosby. He is not going to rape anybody ever again. He's too old, and everybody thinks he's a rapist. So
That's not a guarantee.
It's not a guarantee, but it is highly unlikely.
he outraped people far younger than him.
In his current feeble state, he's almost like blind, isn't he? I think it is very unlikely that Bill Cosby will commit any more sex crimes. So the idea of a correctional incarceration in his case doesn't really make sense to me. I think just let him go. And that's not to say that there's something shouldn't happen, that we shouldn't have a justice system. Just jail isn't the thing that should happen.
So you're saying if you run out the clock on your crime it's such that
No,
it's
that's not
unlikely
you.
you will
I'm saying
convict him.
your entire frame is wrong. Just the same way, if you're in a society that cuts people's hands off when they steal things, and somebody says, "Well, we should stop cutting people's hands off," someone like you is going to be like, "Well, so stealing is okay." Oh, so
that's the
no, it's okay
case.
to all you have to do is just steal. You can
I
steal
mean,
anything you want. You
technically, if you cut people's hands off, very effective way to keep someone from raping again. Just saying.
Well, now that we know that the hand is the lesbian sex organ,
That's
sure,
right.
but
It'll at least keep lesbians from raping. My point is that it's so normalized that it's in your frame of evaluating whether or not it's okay. So I'm saying I want you to just imagine a future. I think in the future, people are going to look back at jail and be like, these were barbaric people. These were horrible, barbaric people who treated each other like shit. They really thought jail was the answer. Entire books of people just explaining how jail is good. They were lost. Just the way we look at slavery. I think it's the exact same thing.
Afterwards, we euthanized criminals, and all was peaceful and well in the utopia of 2044.
so is it
think
implausible to you that jail replaced something worse than jail?
Yes, absolutely. I think it replaced something worse than jail, and I think something better than jail needs to replace jail because jail is torture and jail is bad.
Well, something better than jail certainly will replace jail. That's already happened in Europe and certainly in Scandinavia.
Well, I want to be part of the societal push to figure out something better and to imagine a better solution for
I also
criminality.
want that,
than-
but I
than
guess what
torturing
I'm
people.
saying is that happens when society gets less violent, not because we think jail is so bad.
I don't agree.
Fair enough. Also, I think you're delusional about what's going to happen with Dr. K. I actually have a
How
question
so?
about that.
Okay.
Did the Crimson ever publish any article about him with regard to your complaints?
They never responded to my outreach.
So my thesis is that he's
got his hooks in everything.
more well connected and more important to all of these organizations than you or his victims that have come forward. And the process by which these complaints are adjudicated is sufficiently opaque that you won't get the outcome that you want. And I want to do the same thing for you that I think you wanted to do for his fans, that you are prepared for that outcome.
You are trying to be a force for good, but you're not. You're doing harm by saying this. You're trying to placate me so that I will be emotionally prepared to accept a perversion of justice and a bad actor going free and being able to hurt and exploit as many people as he wants without being stopped. Why should I be emotionally prepared for that?
Well, I'm not trying to make you do nothing about it. I'm trying to make you prepared for that eventuality.
I understand that, but emotional preparedness for this is like, I really hate when I see on Twitter people are like, oh, what is, of course they're all corrupt. Whenever corruption is exposed and like a politician, they say, oh, another politician lied. When you say things like that, you are actually excusing this terrible behavior. Bad behavior should not be excused.
You're encouraging him to condition himself to be apathetic because he expects failure.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yes.
I'm not saying you should not have done what you did.
No, but the
That's
effect of it
not what
will
he just
be to
said.
make him basically orienting himself around the inevitability of his own defeat. You're not going to try as hard if you already think
Right.
it's pointless.
Exactly. And so if you're saying, oh no, it's worse than you think, he's connected to all these organizations, then okay. More digging and reporting and attacking and holding accountable is all necessary. Then we will
does that
re-up our
change?
efforts.
How does that change after I say this then?
It doesn't. Unless he listens to you.
I'm not listening to you. That's why it won't change. But if I did listen to you, then it would be like, oh God, I'm up against so much I can't possibly succeed. That's just how the world is.
Well, I think that would be true if what I said was nothing you or anyone else can do will have any impact. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm
You
saying
said I'm delusional about jail and I'm delusional about Dr. K, and they're the same delusion. You're basically telling me to just accept abuse. You're saying if it's so entrenched, the beliefs that people should be tortured or beliefs that Dr. K should be able to exploit people, if it's so entrenched and so widespread, it's delusional to fight it. It's not. These things are both atrocities that are being committed and need to change. Dr. K is much easier to change than like jail itself.
How about this?
It's the same
How about this?
thing.
Here's a little interjection. I think it's delusional to expect that the pressure against Dr. K the success or failure of that effort would be manifest in the span of like a year and a half. It's a very large platform. It would take a lot of time to foment any kind of pushback against that kind of platform because people are gullible idiots and people eat that stuff up. Not forever, but you need that slow accrual of evidence against him and people actually pointing this stuff out before it becomes mainstream. This is how social change happens generally.
You're arguing against the point I'm not making, which is that it's futile to do anything. I'm saying if I had a nephew who was 5 feet tall who wanted to be in the NBA, I would tell them they're delusional.
What?
Okay, you just directly contradicted yourself. Trying to get in the NBA when you're 5 feet tall is futile. So if that's the analogy, you're literally just saying it's futile.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. And you're connecting that to saying you shouldn't have a big emotional reaction to it, which I agree. The less outraged you are by something, the more futile it is. In fact, you're making it more futile by conditioning the audience to give up. But I don't want you to give up. I don't want anyone to give up.
I don't see how you're saying that I'm conditioning them to give up.
Because you're telling them to expect it to fail and be calm, and that's what that's how people are when they give up. They say, well, the world is shit, that's just how it is. He's connected to the Crimson. Oh, well, if he knows people at the Crimson, he can shut anything down. No, we are in an unprecedented time of people being able to write their own stories and tell their own stories and publish their own articles, and like I could write a Substack article about it. I could keep launching missile after missile after missile, and I think I am uniquely suited to be able to do that as being fairly proficient in multiple different art forms.
Well, if you have an arsenal that you've not yet revealed, then perhaps that's the case. But I'm telling you what the likely outcome is of the existing.
I don't fucking care what you think the likely outcome is. I'm telling you that by telling people that they're probably going to fail at things that are important to them, you are actually, if you're doing it in a public forum, you're actually making it more likely that they will fail because public sentiment is going to be one of the most important factors. However, I think you're just wrong because...
So you'd prefer less honesty in this case?
Yes.
It's not less honesty. If you go up to a fat woman on the street and you say, you're a fat bitch, I bet you're a fucking virgin. If you're really thinking that, you're probably being honest. If I say you shouldn't do that, does it make sense to be like, oh, so you want me to lie? No, that's not less honesty. You're not engaging with what I'm saying.
No, you aim above the mark in the hopes that you can hit it, so that when you fail, you hit higher up than if you'd aimed more realistically. I think it's actually really important that when somebody's embarking on something really ambitious for a good cause, that they are extraordinarily hopeful,
Yes.
so that
Yeah,
at the
ambition
very
is
least,
good.
if they do fail, and they probably will, like that's true, you've left a lot more work for somebody else to stand on afterwards once you're gone.
Yes, ambition is good. I have talked to fucking close friends of Byron who just said he's unstoppable. There's nothing I can do. And I'm like, well, do you want to get on camera and do an interview? And they're like, oh, there's no point. I'm scared. I'm scared of what the audience will do. I'm scared of what
Wait,
his
so
I'm
you
scared,
talked to
scared of what his
someone so you talked to someone who said he's unstoppable. You asked them to tell you this on camera. You didn't tell them to shut the fuck up?
No, I didn't ask him to tell me that he's unstoppable on camera. I said, stop being a fucking bitch and get on camera and fucking do this with me. Don't be a pussy.
You know who would be harder to take down than Dr. K? Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
They were talking about his flights for years before anything happened. Years and years and years.
But then it did. But then
But then it did.
Dr. K is a sloppy narcissist. He will fail. He will fuck up. He will continue to
Again,
fuck up. He
I'm
is
not
a
saying
fuck
he
up.
won't
He
fail.
can't stop himself. He will continually make mistake after mistake after mistake, and he will screw up.
He may eventually go down. I'm
He
just
will go
saying not
down.
as a result of what's already happened.
Okay, well, I don't agree with you, and I think we're just going in circles.
Fair enough.
I think it's inevitable that ethics are coming to streamer world. And I think when they do, Dr. K will face consequences for what he's done. And if he doesn't, I'll just keep trying to make him.
I look forward to being wrong.
All right.
Hey, Max.
Yeah.
These are all really boring. Can we try for one more?
No.
Just one more. I'm sure there's people. I'm sure they'd love it. I'm sure one person will make their day.
No, they've all gone. There's nobody even waiting anymore.
Really? Hang on.
Yeah.
No. I don't. Oh, fuck, you're right. But there are people watching. Surely they will show up since I've said this.
No, they won't. Cause
Guys, quick, get in there.
No,
You have a
we're done.
chance. Sorry.
The show is over. The show is over, folks. I like saying fuck you like MrGirl likes saying motherfucker. Well, that's nice. What about imprisoning Nazi war criminals from World War II when they're 90 years old? That feels weird to me. Yes, exactly. When they're 90, you can sanction them. You can.
Well, that'd be. Hang on a second, though. Hang on a second. When you have some person where the crime is not simply the killing of your loved ones incidentally as if like as a machine accident. The crime is also the intent to do so and the enjoyment and pleasure they took from that feeling of power, and they continue to bear that on their person into their late 90s. I think it's absolutely appropriate to feel a sense of injustice such that you think they should be punished even then at that point. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, I do think it's wrong. But
You're wrong, aren't you?
I understand your view.
It's very dark in there.
Yeah, I turn the lights off. It's the end of the show. I always do this.
Well, it's not the end of my show. You said you wanted to talk to me, but I feel like I asked you all the questions before you go. Is there anything you wanted to bring up?
I didn't have anything specific to talk to you about. I just wanted to talk to you.
No, well, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, for what it's worth, I actually do hope you
I
succeed
am
with
not-
Dr. K.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not ashamed of my warm feelings towards you, Sunday. It's you who has to be careful about sanitizing me.
I don't think so. I think by this juncture, there's very little that can be done to bring you back from the dead. I think we're safe. I did have a long conversation with people on my server before accepting this invitation.
Yeah.
They agreed with that judgment, which is why I accepted it.
Wait, back from the dead? You mean audience-wise?
More or less across the board, you're barred from mainstream platforms. You've lost your privileged status in the Destiny sphere.
Yeah.
You're not in a great position. Maybe that'll change someday, but it's not going to be fixed by me.
Probably not by you, but
What actually was the effect, if you don't mind me asking, on your numbers as a result of the YouTube ban?
it looks like I've lost about 20%.
Monetary-wise, or are we just talking audience?
Monetary-wise, I think I'm making more money.
Really? Just
Yes.
on Rumble and Facebook, huh?
Super chats.
Hmm.
Super chats and Patreon and subscriptions.
Where's the more lucrative platform, in your opinion?
Between Rumble and YouTube?
Yeah.
My super chats are on my website. Have you seen my website?
I have not, but unfortunately that will dip into the realm of advertising for you, so I can't indulge that on stream.
Oh, well, just can you look at it without advertising it
Off
or
stream.
discussing it?
Off stream, absolutely.
Well, no, can you look at it without? I'm just saying. Okay,
Oh, you want me to
well,
look at it while we're talking? Hang on.
Yeah. Like you don't have to show it or anything or say what it is.
Oh, this is just like this is sort of like the GG setup.
Yeah. I hired Destiny's.
What does he charge?
They're formalizing it into a business, and I don't know. I think it's going to be somewhere around 3,000, but I don't quote me on that. I'm guessing that's the number I've heard thrown around.
It's not bad actually. Although I feel like I could probably get a better deal from Vosh's guy.
So, Vosh's is still based on Destiny's source code.
It is, but I thought it was a different person who's responsible for actually.
It's a different person who's doing it, but here's two problems with it.
Yeah.
One, they take a percentage.
Right.
Two, they will shut you down if you do something they don't like.
I think I'm pretty safe from that.
You would think so. I mean, Rose Risk got his site taken down.
Yeah, but Rose Risk deserved it.
Okay. Well, if you're comfortable with your site being able to be yanked out from underneath you whenever you want and giving a percentage.
I don't think it's worth the investment right now. I'm pretty safe where I am.
I would caution you against that kind of thinking because you'd be surprised if you get fucking mass flagged. Just if you get mass flagged for something somebody said on this show, if you have 3 streams with anything in them that can possibly be construed by a robot, your channel can just be gone. So I think if you can afford it and you're planning on doing content long term, I think it definitely makes sense to get your own platform and start migrating people away. Also, YouTube takes 30% of your super chats, and like on my website, all I have to pay is PayPal, which is like 3 or 4% or 5% maybe.
That's a good point. The catch though is that you have to migrate an audience over in the first place. If I'm only on the website and I've already been banned at like under 7K subscribers, I mean, website's not going to save me.
True. Yeah. So maybe not right now, but I man, if I could go back in time, I would have done this 6 months ago. I really wish I had. And then just say like for a while I'll respond to super chats on YouTube and on my website, and eventually like if you want me to read your chat, you have to come to my website.
I feel like that's a 10K sub decision.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Well, have a good night, Max. Take care.
All right. You too, Sunday. Thank you. Thank you for hosting.
You're welcome. That was a thing. Dropping Rose Wrist is one thing, redirecting to Keffel's drop Kiwi Farms was fucked up. I don't know. I don't think so. I'm fine with that. Especially since Rose Wrist helped write the document that was defending Kiwi Farms effectively. I don't have an issue with that. I'm glad he's retired, honestly. GG chat is way better than YouTube chat. I should talk to Demon Mama about that and see how she got that up and running. Sunday, how tired are you? I'm pretty tired. That was a slog. Thank you, Rick Sly, for the $2. I appreciate that. Just scrolling up to see if we missed anything else. Saw we had Earpicker Erudite in the chat earlier. Alright, well. Oh my god, 3 hours and 47 minutes. I guess a lot of that, though, was the intro. But, yeah, I don't like Rose Wrist because he was basically conditioned to be sort of duplicitous and sort of doing some double agent shit very early on. It doesn't bode well. People like that don't get better. Thank you, Tom. I love you too. Have a good night. Someone having that much control and abusing is... I don't think that's... Unless there was something in their contract that made that something they couldn't do, I don't really have an issue with it. Like, unless they did something illegal that was out of contract, I don't have a problem. All Rose did was grammar checking. I mean, he says he was very proud of the work he did on the manifesto, so... If all I did was grammar checking, first of all, I mean, he would have seen enough then at that point to actually, like, make a robust critique of it, which he did not do. Yeah. I got really nervous when WN and Vosh got into a fight about spirituality. I think it is an actual issue, but I don't know if there's even a contract. Even is a contract? They're onto a fight about spirituality. What the hell? Dropping him immediately would be fine. I'm not defending, what are they called? WN? I'm not defending them either. I don't know enough about the details, but nothing that I've heard stands out as particularly heinous. It seems like it was kind of, like I understood it. The redirection pettiness is an abuse of power. Well, not if it's in their right to do so is the thing, right? Like if they have some level of ownership over the website, and it's ultimately just something that they're agreeing to facilitate Rose Wrist with as a service, then that's their prerogative. That's not a... I mean, Rose Wrist in a similar fashion was abusing the goodwill he had generated via his association with Vosh and the making of those research documents. I don't know. It doesn't matter if it was free and gracious. Well, I disagree about that. We can have a conversation about that later. Let's talk about this on a different stream, Aiko. I need to take a break. It's been like almost 4 hours. The right to do so isn't the same as a good business practice. That's why WN apologized. Yeah, that's fair. I didn't say it was a good business practice. It's just not something I'm going to lose. I think anyone should lose sleep over. Literally all of the hosting WN did was for free. The only part that RW owned was the domain. Okay. Alright, anyways, we're gonna run a call tonight. That was the thing. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.